News Weekly! What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Batman News Weekly. This is episode 128 in year 3. And man, oh man, do I have two topics right at the start of the show that I want to talk about very deeply. But before we dive into this, I just want to say this. I know Clay will agree with me on this, but we want to say if you are in the area of Russia or Ukraine and you are a listener of this podcast, because we do have listeners in that part of the world, we wish you the best. We hope you are safe. We know shit is going crazy over there. We hope you and your family is getting out of the area. But we're in America over here, just kind of, it's hard to trust news places over here, so we don't know what's real. But it seems like shit's getting crazy, so we hope you're all safe over there. So
yeah, I've been seeing fact checkers already being like, people are posting old war videos, thinking that it's new and all sorts of stuff. So it's really hard to get accurate stuff. But I mean, we were kind of there. I let Juice know over his stream, like, oh shit, this is happening right now, and it definitely sucks. Be safe. If you can, flee to safety, do so. But yeah, absolutely crazy.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah, I saw, again, I don't know what is real or not, but I heard something about like they were giving civilians guns and men that are between 18 and 60 have to stay in the country while everybody else can flee. Like, that's just scary, man.
Yeah, for real.
So we wish you the best. I do want to preface this again that we are experiencing audio issues. So if you guys are noticing the audio sounds different, we were trying to figure it out before stream. We didn't want to delay the podcast for you guys. So we'll try to make it work in post, but in case you are noticing a difference in quality, it's something we're trying to figure out. So.
Yeah, this is just audio engineering, going full on, trying to figure shit out, that's why I'm going to school. But I even noticed right now, the application that me and Juice use, we're able to see our wavelengths underneath us on the application that we're using, and mine is literally non-existent right now.
Yeah, it's super flat. I was able, if you guys thought the last episode of the podcast sounded okay, I was able to do stuff to make it louder. So if that's okay, that's awesome. But we do want to just let you know that, we are experiencing some technical difficulties, which I've had to deal with this when I wasn't having a webcam and all that bullshit happening. I had to buy new shit. So it happens, but we want to keep this a weekly podcast, so we keep it going for you guys. But with all of that out of the way, there are two things I want to talk about. And the first one I want to talk about is entertainment news, and it has to deal with the Batman. And we've been talking about it as a running joke on this podcast for about 2 or 3 weeks now, and it's using the word grounded. And I don't know if it's just because we covered it on the podcast, but dude, I've been seeing that word everywhere now, and it annoys the fuck out of me.
Everywhere. I've even talked about it on DC Alliance. I actually had a random listener that has not engaged with us at all before in the past. Just try to like call me out on Twitter and all this shit because of like the conversation around grounded Batman and everything else. But man, it's kind of weird how much the grounded take on Batman is becoming a big conversation starter right now.
Yeah, it's so weird. And the reason why we want to talk about this now is not to get back on that topic, but we have had people in Discord, which this was what started us talking about it in the past. We still have some other people that be like, grounded doesn't mean like you can't take creative liberties. And my comment to retort that was, your creative liberties on a realistic or grounded movie is that a guy can dress up in a bat suit, dodge bullets, and survive explosions. That's your creative liberties if you're doing a grounded show. You can't bring in a guy like Mr. Freeze and him have a freeze gun and say that that's grounded. You just can't do it. Like, it makes no sense. And I think a lot of people are just kind of not understanding that part of the thing. But the reason why I bring this up now is because it seems like Robert Pattinson and Zoe Kravitz were having an interview and they mentioned Superman. And like, how can we bring in the Justice League into this movie, this Matt Reeves grounded universe? So they talked about it. And they were like, yeah, so if it was going to be grounded, is he just a normal guy that doesn't have powers? Maybe he wears a cape and just calls himself Superman. So literally trying to make Superman realistic. So he's not going to be able to fly. He wouldn't have super strength or anything. He would just be a random guy, which was followed up by Zoe Kravitz saying, yeah, I just don't think Batman and Superman play well together, or something along those lines. And I was
What?
like, what?
What?
Yeah.
I have not seen this interview.
It's
If you
in
can,
Discord. I'll bring it up right now while you give your thoughts.
okay, send it to me because I need to have this conversation with some other people.
Yeah.
Because I will say this: the thought that Superman and Batman do not work well together. There should never be a thing called World's Finest.
Yeah.
Um, like they shouldn't be in the same universe. Like that is nonsense, and I think it's borderline dumb, to be completely honest.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't want to misquote her. So, from what this article says, he's just like, yeah, I'm Superman. And they're like, so, Zoe Kravitz, who plays Selena Kyle slash Catwoman, continued by saying the worlds of both Batman and Superman kind of just don't work together, is her quote. So I'm going to assume, because I don't want to assume that, well, one, I don't think, I want to say Zoe Kravitz was saying she didn't read any comic books
mm,
for this role because she didn't want to copy or do some other bullshit, I think is what she said. I could be wrong there. But so I'm going to assume Zoe Kravitz hasn't really read the comic source material. So she doesn't understand how Batman and Superman do work well together because she hasn't read the source material. So I'm not going to knock her for that. But and I'm also going to say that she probably doesn't think this version of Batman could work well with something like Henry Cavill, who flies around and fights aliens and stuff, is
yeah,
what I'm assuming she means. But she is very completely wrong with the idea that Superman and Batman do not work well together because they're literally the world's finest. Like, they're built
yeah,
together. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So yeah, and I wanted to bring this up because you have people that literally worked on the set that are part of the movie that are saying this. So if you are that dense, if you are that ignorant to believe that no, they could still work and they could still do this, you can believe it, I guess. You could, sit there and be like, no, they can make it work. But we're telling you here right now that the people that are working on this film want to keep this as realistic, I'm doing air quotes, as possible, meaning flying people do not make sense in this universe.
they don't.
Yeah.
Now, excuse me, I'm eating a Sour Patch Kid. Now, the problem that I see with this conversation as well is there was people in DC Comics costumes seen on the
Y-
set
yes.
of the Batman.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Do you think Superman and Wonder Woman can be fictional characters, but Batman is real?
I don't know if I would like that.
Yeah. I don't think I'd like it either. I don't think it would be smart.
Like
Um,
it, not saying that is confusing. And granted, like people in Discord said, people can take creative liberties,
yes.
but why do it?
Yeah.
Like why play that so close to the chest of like, oh, it's DC Comics, you get it? Dun like
Yeah.
it it's too on the nose for such a serious take on Batman.
I agree. I agree. And yeah, I just don't. I don't know, man. We've said it on this podcast a million times, so I don't want to go into that again. Like, I think this movie's gonna be good. I'm just tired of the realistic take. That's just how I see it. And a lot of people, I think, misconstrue that as like, oh, Juice thinks this movie's gonna suck, or he doesn't like this movie. No, I think this movie's probably gonna be pretty fire. I'm just saying that, like, I kind of, as much as I shit on the Zack Snyder verse, I liked what he did with Batman. I like that Batman was able to be a badass, but he could also deal with supernatural stuff. Now, granted, I will say Snyder did kind of keep him away from certain things. Like, he didn't go anywhere near Doomsday, which is smart. I can see how you do that. But he did try to keep him away from the crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And he made sure that Superman didn't hit him full force or anything like that, which is smart. But I do still want to be able to see, Batman do take a pounding or whatever and still get back up because again, I would love to see him bleeding and being like, I'm still here. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? A la Tom King. And yeah, I don't know. So I just, I'm just throwing more evidence out there for people that are listening to this podcast that think we're dumb or whatever because, like, oh, yeah, I don't think it could be grand. They could do whoever they want. No, I saw your clip on TikTok telling your other podcast that you think that, in 5 years, 10 years, or whatever, they'll probably run this back for another trilogy and just change up the order of the heroes or the
Yeah.
villains.
Like
Yeah.
and that is what this listener or whatever was coming at me for.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, uh, you just hate DC, so I don't think you should be on a DC show. Uh, you should go you should go host a Marvel podcast and all of this other shit. And he was saying, uh, what is it? It's okay to not like everything, but you shit on everything, man.
Yeah.
Like, can you not just enjoy what we have? And I'm like,
He doesn't
yeah.
listen to Batman News Weekly, does he?
I don't think he does. So what he had said, here's the quote. He said, "I've been listening to DC Alliance for a few months now, and Fanboy Clay bitches and complains about everything DC. Nothing wrong with not liking everything, but you shit on it all. Example, rant about how boring the Batman movie sequel villains will be when you have no clue."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I made a prediction because Matt Reeves himself has said, I will only take the grounded characters or grounded stories for other characters.
Yeah.
And until I see otherwise, I'm basically thinking Two-Face is going to be in the other movie, and we may see Raz or Rach, however you want to pronounce it, Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
We might see a take on Bane, maybe.
Yeah.
I am not expecting a Mr. Freeze. I'm not expecting a Poison Ivy. I am not expecting freaking Man Bat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not expecting those characters because you have to go so far into a realm of disbelief, and that's what Grounded is not. You know.
Yeah.
So that's the point I was making.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we deal with so many different opinions from people that listen, which is fine. We love it, by the way. We don't. If I have the time, I will engage in conversation with you. People in the Discord have seen this.
Yeah,
And
it helps. It not only helps conversations, but like opinions are good. It's okay to have a certain opinion. I'm not going. I say I'm not going to shit all over your opinion. There may be times where I do shit all over your opinion.
Yeah.
But that's because of my take. It's not that you're a bad person. It's just, hey, I don't agree with your opinion, but let's conversate about it. Let's have a good conversation, debate, whatever you want to call it. Because I think some of those in a healthy environment are good.
Yeah, and I will say this too, in case anybody ever does come into the Discord in the future or whatever, if you join this or we talk to you in person. I think in person and online are very different. I'm so fucking chill in person, like when it comes to talking about stuff. Unless it's like me and Clay. Me and Clay have gotten into debates in person, but it's because we're friends. Like we've been friends for a long time. It's so easy to do that. But if I were to meet you in person and we just shot the shit, like I'd be chill as fuck. But the thing is like when it's online, if you're coming at me and your opinion is something I've heard a million times before, it's very possible I'm going to be super short with you because I've talked about this a billion times. And I'll just say my points, and I kind of already know what your points are going to be. So, like, the one conversations that I love are the ones that people bring a different perspective, but have something to back it up. That I'm just like, oh, okay, that's pretty interesting. I get that. And so, yeah, but a lot of the stuff is just like, well, they could because so-and-so on YouTube says so. And I'm like, that fucking person doesn't know shit. They're just trying to get your views. Like, you know what I mean? And I've been in that space. So I know that they're saying shit just to get the views. Granted, at least I try to put all my shit like backed up by comic sources. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyways, I digress. So that was just something I wanted to point out because it is something we have been talking about on this podcast for a hot minute. And it's coming from the actors now. The actors themselves saying that this shit's grounded. So don't expect somebody like a Clayface, you know? Don't expect a Superman. And if you're one of those people holding on to hope that the Flash is going to combine this universe and the DCEU, you're fucking wrong. Like,
Yeah,
just let that
I
go.
think Reeves has enough pull to be like, nobody's touching my fucking Batman.
And you know what? You know what's funny is I want to say early on in this podcast, before we even knew what the Batman was going to be, we were like, give us just a fucking Batman universe. Like, we'll take it. And Reeves is doing that.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to argue against Reeves' stuff. I'm just saying I wish it would have been a Batman universe where I could get any kind of villain. But
Yeah.
now I know, you know what? If Reeves doesn't do like Mad Hatter or Scarface, I'm going to be pissed. Because those are doable villains.
Oh, yeah.
So if he doesn't do either of those, I'll be kind of mad. Especially if he's like, all right, we're going with Two-Face. Oh, yay. I think if Vegas would take bets on who the next villains are going to be, Two-Face, I would put money on Two-Face easily.
Yeah,
Two-Face
I
and
can see it.
Joker, 100%. Well, we already hear rumors about the Joker already. But
Mhm.
will we get that cut? We don't know yet. We'll find out after November 1st. I mean, March 1st.
Yeah.
Everybody will be talking about it. So, because yeah, nobody's gonna in those. This is what I tell everybody. Next week, after all of March, until you watch the damn movie, stay off social media. Delete all your apps because every spoiler for this fucking movie is going to be everywhere.
Which I've already said it. Well, I think I said it at the very end of one episode. I'll go ahead and say it here because we're only 16 minutes in. The embargo for reviews is lifted February 28th in literally 4 days for us right now recording. The day before we go see this movie. So I am going to be on social media very limited that day. That Monday, I'm just going to be listening to podcasts, not looking at Twitter a whole bunch, and then, Tuesday I'm probably going to get off and I'm just going to chill, play Horizon Zero or Forbidden West until we go see the movie.
Yeah, you might want to be careful on the 27th because there's always that one asshole that doesn't give a shit about the embargo and wants to be first.
That's true.
He's always like, and then somebody always hits him with the, yo, there's a fucking embargo. And their response is always, not for me. And that's what they say. It's the same fucking broken record every single time. I wish those people would get sued.
Well, no, because it's no secret now. John Campea, really bigger name in the pop culture news podcast, Scoop Business, whatever. He leaked Spider-Man No Way Home pictures.
Oh, really?
They had his freaking name and logo watermarked on the photos.
Wow.
And he didn't get in trouble. So apparently he has Doctor Strange information that he was told not to share. And he talked about it on his podcast the other day.
Yeah.
And I just think nowadays, if you have a big enough pull, you're almost untouchable.
Yeah. It's true, though. I mean, that happens with a lot of things, not just comic book stuff. But it's unfortunate because at the end of the day, it's free press for the movie, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's going to get mad at the Spider-Man leaks, even though they were trying to hide them. But they're like, if everybody knows Toby and so are going to be in this, they're going to come watch the fucking movie, and we're going to make $1 bajillion. So, especially in COVID times, they'll let fucking anything fly.
Yeah.
And it's probably why they're trying so hard to just throw everything out there. There are so many new scenes for this movie that have popped up in the last couple days. It's ridiculous.
I almost there was one. I think I was watching something on. No. I was watching Superman and Lois, and thankfully, I have YouTube TV, and so they were on YouTube TV. You can choose to either watch the regular cable version or a video on demand. And this time I was like, you know what? Let's do regular cable so that way I can just skip through the commercials because on VOD you have to watch commercials. So I was like, I'll skip through the commercials. And then they're like, now a special look at the Batman. I was like, freaking pressing the 15 seconds, jump button. I was like, shit. Like nothing is safe anymore. Literally.
Yeah. That sucks. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll find out, and we'll find out in a few days how this movie's gonna go. We still haven't decided what we're doing yet. By the way, we don't know if that's gonna count as that week's podcast or what. I don't know if we have a lot of comics next week, or if that should just be our podcast early, maybe. Because I don't think anybody's gonna listen to it right away because it won't be available. Maybe we record it on Tuesday and then just drop it as normal on Friday when the movie comes out for people to listen to it over the weekend. We haven't really decided. So you're either gonna get just a Batman review next week or that'll be a bonus episode. We have not decided yet. So, FYI. But let's move on to, you know what? I feel like this is going to be a bigger thing. So let's just knock this other one out before we talk about this bigger issue. I mentioned a few weeks ago on this podcast that it seems like Batwoman is going to be bringing in, they said that they were going to make a black Joker. Like there was this new character who was going to be Joker, and he was played by a black actor. And I was saying they better go full blown with this Joker. Like he better wear the face paint. We kind of had just a discussion like, oh, is that kind of like whiteface or anything? We had that weird discussion around it. But in the end, it seems like he's not going to be the Joker because in this actual photo on this website, if you want to check this out, Clay, it's in the movies and TV anime section for Discord. There is a photo of apparently the guy that is supposed to be the Joker in Batwoman was actually going to be one of those situations where he had a run-in with the Joker and the Joker has affected him, so he's going to be a villain because of that run-in. And they actually have a photo of a younger kid who is going to be playing this actor's younger self standing next to a full-blown actor in Joker makeup and costume and everything. And he's wearing a mask over his face. So I don't know if he's doing gas mask stuff or what the case is going to be. But we have a full-blown Joker possibly appearing in Batwoman in this flashback scene. Now, this could be one of those things where they have to make him look like the Joker, but we're only going to get shots of his feet, or we're going to get maybe a shot of the smile real up close. It's going to be kind of like Peacemaker at the end episode where we got to see the Justice League. Right?
Is it going to be one of those weird freaking Dark Knight's metal, this Joker dies and gas poisons this new guy and he becomes the Joker?
Who knows? Could be.
I'm not watching the show, so
I have no idea.
We'll find out afterward.
Yeah. But I just wanted to clear that up because it is something we threw out there. As far as I said, from the article I read, it said that guy was going to be the Joker. So I was just like, okay, but now it seems like he was affected by the Joker, which is kind of weird. I don't even know if we mentioned this in previous episodes because we don't care, but that Gotham Knights show is getting a pilot. So I don't know if we mentioned.
Oh yeah, no, we saw it, but we didn't really put it in the show at all.
Yeah, so that's a thing too. Also, something that we didn't talk about in the Batman news is the Batman 2 is already being discussed. Matt Reeves was kind of just saying like, oh yeah, we're talking about a whole bunch of things. We got the Penguin show coming out. He didn't mention Gotham PD, which was really weird. He said we're doing a few things in the streaming space. Yeah. But didn't mention Gotham PD, so I'm kind of curious what's happening with that. And then he said, yeah, we're talking about like what we can do for Batman 2 already. So there's that, in case anybody cares. But let's move on to the biggest thing, I think, of this week. Clay sent this to me today. And I just responded with the elf, no gif. When Batman 125 drops, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to possibly suck again because Chip Zdarsky is going to be taking over, helming the Batman going forward?
Going forward, yes.
So, unfortunately, Williamson was just a buffer, which sucks because his story has been pretty solid.
And here's the thing. So I'm interested in what issue are we on now? So next week will be the Batman.
I think we're on 21.
121.
Yeah.
So with this announcement, this will be around the same time as Dark Crisis.
Okay.
Where the Justice League supposedly dies.
Yeah.
So what the fuck happens then?
I don't know. Well, also, did you also realize that we're not in Shadow of the Bat yet, or whatever? I thought that's what this whole. Well, we are and we aren't, because isn't this thing with Tamaki Shadow of the Bat?
So it is. If you go to the books, it should say um, Shadow of the Bat Part whatever.
Yeah,
This is. Oh,
but
I just
isn't the
passed.
Damian Deathstroke Batman stuff also Shadow of the Bat?
No, I think that is called something else.
Oh,
I don't know if it's called like the Shadow War or whatever. Because remember
yeah.
the whole that was the whole thing with you. There's like it's always got to be a war.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So yeah, I just don't know what the hell's happening, but I will say, oh, dude. Dude, here's my thing, right? Because Jimenez is coming back. George is coming back for this, which
Hmm.
we know George can get us through a terrible run.
Yes, you
Like,
can.
it's gonna look great, but it might be really terrible. Can
But like, and here's the here's the thing, right? So George posted this photo of him looking at his because he does cosplay. The
yeah,
dude like looks like fucking Superman. He is
yeah,
huge, and
is Jack.
so he was looking at his cosplay cowl of the
Mhm.
Batman, and everybody's like, "Oh shit, he's coming back!" And in my mind, I'm like, "Oh no, George is back. That means it's gonna be a horrible writer."
Yeah, dude, can you imagine being George and being tied to? I mean, look, Chip. If you're listening to this podcast somehow because somebody sends it to you or whatever, I hope you prove me wrong, man.
And we've said it 1,000 times. I am currently caught up on Daredevil.
Hmm.
It is the greatest run of Daredevil that I have ever read.
Which he's going to continue doing that,
Which
by
he
the
is
way.
going to, he's going to be writing Red Batman and he's going to be writing Batman. Like
Yeah.
he has it all right now.
Hmm.
So I have hope, but my expectations are low.
Yeah. Yeah, he is. My expectations for him are slightly above Tynan right now.
Yes.
Very slightly. But he could ruin it in these first couple issues. Because that Urban Legends or whatever story with Red Hood was awful. He had a
Yes. Now
couple good panels.
I will say the announcement photo for this was pretty fire with George Jimenez. The like it had Batman and the bat symbol on his
Yeah.
chest was like just a small Robin. I don't know if it's Damien or Tim or whatever, but you see Robin like jumping and his cape is in the uh what is it? The outline of
Yeah,
the
the
bat.
outline of the bat. Yeah, yeah, that looks kind of cool. But Tynan's run had a lot of amazing art too. So,
Yeah.
just saying. But again, Chip, if you're listening to this, I hope you prove me wrong, man. If your run comes out and it's amazing, I'll be like, man, Chip Zdarsky is the greatest. He fucking proved me wrong.
Guys, we will say this until we're blue in the face. We didn't think Joker was going to be a successful movie.
Yeah,
We didn't think
I
that it
didn't
was,
want it.
yeah, it was something that we weren't really 100% for. So we could be like this way for Chip and him completely blow our minds.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty insane. We'll see what happens. And yeah, I hope he proves us wrong, but what he's been doing lately with the Batman properties that he's been a part of have been boring.
Yeah.
So, I hope he's not relying on art to do this to be like, "Oh yeah." And I really hope he's not trying to set up something from his previous shit that he's going to try to do in this run because
Yeah,
that would be awful.
Mr. Smiley or whatever it was.
Yeah. Well, did you read the synopsis for this?
No, I didn't.
Oh, let me read it to you, Clay, because it might
Oh,
be
shit.
bad. Let me
Oh,
read it to you.
shit.
Okay. So, let me see. This is just the headline that CBR is running with. It says Batman new creatives Zdarsky and Jimenez will introduce the hero's own Doomsday. And it says DC taps Chip Zdarsky and George Jimenez as the new creative team for the Batman. And they're giving the Dark Knight his very own version of Doomsday. And it goes on to say, we've approached when DC approached me to write Batman, I immediately thought about things that I could really challenge the character mentally, physically, and in terms of his relationships. Zdarsky told comicbook.com. of his and Humanis' first story arc, which introduces a villain named Failsafe. Failsafe is his doomsday. When I started mapping out the story, I got really
Oh no,
excited
it's
about
designer
where
all
this,
over again.
yeah, where it could take the title.
It's designer all over again.
Yeah, everybody thinks they can make his new Joker instead of just making fucking good books.
No, I didn't
Why does it
read that.
always have to be a new villain? Why can it never just be a fucking old villain?
Well, and it's partially for the reason of what I was complaining about on DC Alliance.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that like usually when people jump on Batman, they always want to do Two-Face, they always want to do Joker, they always want to
Yeah,
do Riddler, they always want to do the core 4 or 5.
yeah,
So like I can understand bringing. I mean, and the big thing is we've seen this with even Tynan. You bring in a new character, it brings in new readers.
yeah.
Well, it brings in more readers towards that title
It brings
because it
in
gets
sales.
yeah, it brings in sales.
Yeah,
It brings in freaking speculators who will then you know pre-order the shit out of that first issue, thinking that it's going to go for bukus. Whenever that first appearance of Failsafe comes out,
yeah.
that's what's going to happen. So we'll see. Oh shit!
Here's my thing: Batman doesn't need a doomsday, right? He doesn't need a doomsday. Like, Superman got doomsday because Superman could beat anybody's ass. That's what
Yeah,
he got. And Doomsday became, would you say, the biggest Superman comic of all time? The Death of Superman? Or is there something bigger? You're the Superman person here.
I would say honestly, in the realm of like the idea of what's some of the very first Superman stories that people think of,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be John Byrne's Man of Steel is usually people's number one story. The second, Doomsday,
Yeah.
the death of Superman.
Yeah.
Like it is iconic.
That might have been the first Superman book I ever bought.
And honestly, right now, in regards to Batman, I think the closest thing to that new age wise in the last 15 years would probably be Court of Owls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, you could
Well,
say
15 years? Was Hush in the last 15 years?
maybe. Let me double check.
I don't know when Hush was created because it could be very borderline. I don't know when Hush came out, but it might be early 2000s, I think.
Batman Hush was published
At least over 10 years.
2002,
Yeah.
20
Okay, so
years ago.
oh shit. Okay, yeah, damn. God damn. I'm old. But yeah, fucking yeah, Court of Owls probably in most recent history for sure. Definitely
Yeah.
in the last decade.
So I think I will say this, Chip. It's about time that we see something of that caliber in the Batman mythos. Freaking 10 years ago from Court of Owls was Hush.
Yeah.
Freaking, that was 2011. Now 10 years after that, like you got to show us something.
But could that be Abyss right now?
It could be.
Because Abyss's story is good so far. I
So
don't know what
far.
the fuck's happening.
Yeah,
But it's good.
I mean, we'll get more of that next week, but like
yeah.
as an ongoing, because we knew from the beginning when Joshua Williamson was announced, we knew that he was only going to be a temporary writer.
Yeah.
So as the helmed ongoing writer for Batman, like that is a huge weight on your shoulders.
Mhm.
So I feel like Tynan kind of choked, so we'll see how Chip does.
I'm tired. When you're going to tell me this is his doomsday, you are setting your bar so fucking high.
So
why would you do that? Like,
well, because here's the thing, okay? So you say, oh, Batman's doomsday, I immediately think, so he's gonna die.
yeah.
Right after he's supposed to die already in the Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I don't
how does it
understand it,
work?
man. Yeah.
And again, making complications with his relationships. We have been seeing this all the time. Do something different, Chip.
Is Chip gonna break up Batman and Catwoman? Batman dies and she becomes Batman. Isn't that what's happening in
So that's
Daredevil or
what's
some shit?
happening in Daredevil right now.
Yeah.
Elektra is Daredevil right now.
hmm So is
Um,
that he's just gonna pour? He was like, nobody reads both. I'm just gonna port it over. Is that what he's gonna fucking do? Um, it makes sense on why Joshua Williamson didn't fucking answer my question on Twitter. He's not gonna be around to bring in
yeah,
Catwoman.
yeah.
But how is he doing anything with Robin then? Like, this is what pisses me off about writers nowadays is they fucking just say shit and like they don't pay it off. Like, you know what I mean? Um, it's just so you could buy shit. It's just so you could buy the stuff. I don't know, man. Again, I hope Zdarsky proves me wrong. I would love to be here. And when does he start? In July, something like that. June, July.
It should be.
Because we get one Batman every month, so we got 5 more issues.
We got 5 more issues.
Yeah, about July.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, man. It sucks because literally the title of the first episode when we read 118 was Batman's good again, and it could go back to Batman sucks again. Like, but the art's good. Like, that's what the fucking title's gonna have to be. But again, we'll see what happens. But anyways, let's move on to some viewer questions, ladies and gentlemen, because
And
man,
boy,
y'all sent
oh
in a lot.
boy, we have a lot.
Do we have any on the YouTube channel though?
Let me double check here.
Because we have quite a few in the Discord. Starting off with, let's see, Ethan, who is our resident The Batman lover in Discord. Will a Batman horror movie which only takes place in Arkham Asylum, could that work? Yeah, why wouldn't it? I mean, it all depends, right? Wasn't that what the Batman was supposed to be before it became Matt Reeves' shit? He was gonna be like locked in Arkham fighting a bunch of people.
Yeah, he was. It was basically told to the general audience that it was going to be just like the Tower, right? Is that what it's
Yeah.
called? Um,
Is it the Tower? The Raid.
the Raid. That's what it
Yeah.
is. The Raid. Um, and he was going to be locked inside Arkham Asylum, fighting his way out. He was going to have the cowl on 95 to 98% of the time, which would have been awesome as well.
Yeah.
Uh, but the horror aspect, um, I have always said this before, that you can take the genre of superhero films and make subgenre movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like doing a legitimate Western with freaking, oh shoot, what's the dude with Jonah Hex? Like,
Yeah.
doing that. Or doing a legit sci-fi film with the Green Lanterns.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much you could do with that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I genuinely think that you could play around with the horror aspect with Batman.
Yeah, Nolan kind of shit the bed with what you could do with Scarecrow. Like, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But why did he do that? Because it was realistic.
Yep.
Had you been able to do what Arkham Asylum or is it Arkham City does with fucking Scarecrow?
Well, it was all of them, to be honest.
That's true.
It was each one played a little bit with Scarecrow.
Yeah, where he goes into this weird puzzle mine scenario where Scarecrow's like 1,000,000 feet tall, and it's just like he looks like a fucking Titan from Attack on Titan. Like, it's insane. You could do a lot with that. So yeah, a horror movie could easily work with the Batman, but these directors just want to be the next Christopher Nolan, and nobody wants to fucking. Granted, again, that was the good thing about Snyder. He was like, "Nah, I'm gonna make this comic booky." That's his biggest plus, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Now we're back to. But then again, we don't know what's happening with the DCEU still. It's very comic booky, which is awesome. But unfortunately, we don't have a fucking Batman right now. Or we're going to have a very old Batman, which we don't know what they're going to do with that. We still don't even know if we have a Nightwing yet. That's still kind of up in the air. I can't believe we haven't heard anything. But
Yeah,
you know,
wild.
yeah, maybe they're trying to finalize like, hey, it's gonna be multiple pictures. Maybe it's
Yeah.
gonna be a bunch of cameos and stuff. Who knows? But it'd just be really weird not to accept in this climate right now. And I don't think O'Brien's doing much. Why wouldn't you accept a big DC role? Kind of weird, but
I mean, with as well, I feel like a lot of people still have the stigma of like, oh, if it's Marvel, I don't want it
yeah,
because Marvel is a
yeah,
well-oiled machine, you know.
yeah,
So that could be something, but I think also you could have leverage of like, hey, there's a lot of different things happening over at WB and DC. You know, they're now going to be owned by Discovery. There's going to be a lot of changes, a lot
yeah.
of positive changes, and that's really the way you should approach that to get some more actors into those superhero films.
The only thing I could see is one, if he doesn't like superheroes, and two, doesn't like money, and three, is friends with the other Nightwing guy.
The
That
other
would be
Nightwing guy.
the Nightwing from Titans.
Oh
Like
yeah,
if they
yeah,
were
yeah, yeah.
friends and he's like, I don't want to steal your thunder, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, either way, yeah, a horror Batman movie could work. It's just, will we ever get something like that? Probably not, unless it's a big director that comes in and is like, I want to make a horror Batman film.
I mean, in from from what I mean, it's been a while since we've gotten an update, but the Spawn movie with Jamie Foxx
Mm-hmm.
is supposed to be a horror film with
Yeah,
like Spawn only in the background. And we've pitched that kind of like you should
yeah,
do a horror movie with Batman with him only in the shadows.
yeah, yeah. Like you don't even need to hire an actor for that. Like you just need to have it all special effects. Like you should make a movie a la what Rosenbaum, right? Berg, Baum,
Berg.
Bogmark, Berg is doing with the kid right now in that series, right? Like you don't have to show Batman in that, but have it be a criminal that's just running from the Batman, and you're his
Yeah.
whole like you could do that as like a low budget HBO Max show or not show, but like movie
Yeah.
of like somebody's just trying to make a living like street hard thug, and he's haunted by the Batman everywhere, and like you can have maybe like a D-list character be the villain or the main antagonist, and this guy's just trying to survive in the streets of Gotham, but he has that looming fear of being caught by Batman. Like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't that work? Especially when you're doing all this bullshit on the CW and Titans that you can't show Batman and they're in the background, but yeah, you can name drop him, but like, fuck it, give me something better. So yeah, I do think that can work. Clay, this next one is for you only. Did you
Yeah.
stop the comic reading challenge? What are the best reads of 2022?
So I did not stop the comic book reading challenge. I am currently, it is February 24th as we are recording this, and I have read 232 comics that I
Jesus.
have posted. Now, I have read more since then, and I do have it here. I have read, let's see here, that was, shit, where am I? Okay, so that was 20, 32, 33, 34, 35. 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. So I have read 245 comics this year, starting January 1st from now. Best ones this year, I will say, if you haven't read the series, the weekly series called 52, back, it was a Jeff Johns, Grant Morrison. There was like two other writers on it. It was a weekly series. I'm in the middle of that right now. I'm on issue like 30, 34. It was actually really, really good. It is
Yeah.
basically a story of the DC universe without Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not in hiding, but they're like basically
Is that the one
regrouping.
where Wonder Woman killed somebody and they all said they need to go their separate ways?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was
Okay.
like during the whole thing of like Infinite Crisis and all of
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, so I would say that is actually really, really fun. Now, as far as actual 2022 releases, I would say 100% look at Radiant Black. It's a Image comic. I actually did an interview with Kyle Higgins, Ryan Parrott, and Matthew Groom.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the Geek First YouTube channel if you guys are YouTube guys, or if you want to listen to it on Geek Ultimate Alliance, It's an episode of World's Finest True Believers. It's about an hour. Um, we had a lot of fun doing it. Kyle Higgins actually puts me on the spot at one point. It was actually really, really funny. But yeah, Radiant Black is a awesome book that is in the same light of like Power Rangers and Invincible, but for adults. And they just did a crossover with characters that are coming out later this year called Supermassive. So I would say that is a really good read for 2022, as well as, like I said, Daredevil. Daredevil for Marvel is A grade, 100%.
Noise. I would say House of Gotham by Rosenberg. Probably the best thing I've read this year, consistently.
Yeah.
That's of 2022, not of what we've been reading since recently. But yeah, I don't really have anything else to add to that part, though. Let's see. We got a random question from King, which he didn't know if he could ask this here, but we kind of talk about it anyways. He says, "What's the deal with Superman? Will Henry Cavill's Superman be recasted after the Flash movie?" We've kind of talked about this on the podcast before.
Mm-hmm.
If the rumors that we've heard is the new, if there is a new Justice League or a new Trinity, it is going to be maybe Batgirl, Supergirl, and Shazam. There's
Mm-hmm.
no evidence that proves this or not. It's just that all these characters exist right now. That's what some of the rumors are. But as far as I know, we still got a Wonder Woman 3 movie coming out. There's rumors of possible Wonder Woman cameos. We just saw that in Peacemaker. And I'm going to say this out there, guys. Being an actor is very, very fickle. So Gal Gadot might be like, I'm probably done after Wonder Woman 3. But if she's not getting a bunch of movies and they're like, hey, we got a Wonder Woman 4 script, she'll be like, I'm back. So FYI. That's why I love when people like Margot Robbie are like, I'll play Harley Quinn until I'm old. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, cool.
And
we'll
as far as Superman, like my co-host for DC Alliance, he's like, did you see the silhouette of Superman? It looked exactly like Henry Cavill. So that means we're definitely getting him back. And I'm like, yeah, this just tells me again that he's probably done. Like,
I would be shocked if he came back. It's not because he doesn't want to.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that either. I just think that there is way too much mud in the water for everything that's happened in the past for DC films for him to really get a good chance to come back.
But after Discovery takes over, never
We'll
know.
see.
I'm hoping that when Discovery takes over, they're like, oh, what the fuck are these other Superman films? Get them the fuck out of here. Because we haven't heard shit about those, and I'm hoping they don't come to light, in my opinion.
Yeah, we really haven't heard anything about those other films.
Although, the Michael B. Jordan one that is supposed to be Calvin Harris, or whatever the fuck is
Yeah, Calvin Ellis over on
Calvin
HBO
Ellis.
Max. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that one. The other one is the one that I think is stupid.
Yeah.
The just like race swapping Clark Kent.
The World War II Black Clark Kent.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. I don't care either.
Yeah.
I would not mind the Michael B. Jordan one though, because he has come out and said like, no, I don't want to just be a black Superman. Like there is a black Superman in the comics already. I would love to do that. I'd be down with that. I'm like, okay. A guy that reads comics and has source material, because we've always said, and this is like the people that hate the race swapping stuff. Oh, you already got black characters. Elevate those black characters. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you bitches better go fucking watch it, and you better go support it.
And he did an interview with Oprah. And he's like, yeah, there's a black Superman named Calvin Ellis. You know him? And she was like, why would I know that?
You ain't hip, Oprah. Come on.
Like he was so nonchalant about it. He's like, oh yeah, you don't know about this. Let me explain it. And I really dug the fact that he actually did his research. He's reading these comics. He's a fan. So I'm looking forward to that series on HBO Max.
Yeah. We got another question from Young here. Do you guys have any theories on the Flash movie on what will happen in it? What do you got? You got any weird theories that we haven't talked about or anything you think? I have a theory that I know I'll hate if it happens.
A theory of mine is because of some things that I have caught in the first two trailers.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're heading towards No Man's Land.
Really?
Hmm.
That would be interesting. Um,
I,
yeah.
I
I
think that there's a way that it could happen.
That would be interesting to bring in No Man's Land out of nowhere. And you think that Keaton's gonna be living in that?
Oh wait, the Flash. Sorry, I thought he meant Batman. Talking about Batman. Yeah,
Oh
sorry.
no, the
So
Flash movie. Do you want to
no, see
elaborate on
the
the Batman?
well there. So there's a real quick. In the first two trailers, because that's the
Uh,
only two trailers that I've seen. Um, there is a scene where you see Batman in like freaking waist high water or
yeah.
higher, and he has like flares and stuff. I think there is either a man made or uh, or just natural disaster,
Hmm.
and like we get either a no man's land or 0 year, like that they're working
Hmm.
towards.
That could. I don't know. I don't think I'd like it though. I don't think I'd like it. One, Gotham shit all over that and ruined it for me. Um, but I just think it's too soon. I think that's one of those things that you end a trilogy on.
Yeah.
You know,
No, but for the Flash, any theories for the Flash movie that
I
we
have a theory I
haven't
would
talked
hate.
about? Okay, you go first while I'm
So,
thinking.
and we may or may have not talked about this, but there were rumors recently, and I'm not going to say that this is a spoiler because everybody's kind of already assumed this, right? Like, because we don't
Mhm.
know the villain, but I don't know if you saw the photo. Did you see the stunt team photo? Their shirts. So the stunt team that was working on the Flash, their shirts had like a Batman on it, a Superman, and it had a Reverse Flash on it.
Really?
Yeah. So it had a Reverse Flash with the Reverse Flash logo and everything, and it had the red ears instead of the yellow ears.
Hmm.
So they're thinking that this is going to be the secret villain, all that jazz. My theory is if that second Barry is the Reverse Flash, I am going to fucking hate that part of the movie because I am tired of them using the same actor as being evil. When I see that evil Doctor Strange in that trailer, I fucking roll my eyes to the back of my head. I fucking hate the evil version. Ooh. Look,
Well,
man,
no.
the only cool evil version of anything is Evil Link when you play fucking not Ocarina of Time. I think it's Ocarina of Time. When you go into like that mirror universe or whatever and have to
Yeah,
fight
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yourself, that is the best evil version. And that's
It's
it.
funny that you say that because right now, Superman and Lois, Bizarro is
Of
right
course.
is
But
the
is it
villain.
stupid Bizarro or is it just him being evil?
It's right now. It is just him being evil.
Yeah,
Like
I hate that.
he's all white and crackly and stuff, looking like Bizarro,
Yeah.
but he is evil. He is not like dumb Bizarro.
Yeah.
Um, but like unfortunately, and this is a 100% excuse, but
Mhm.
like because of COVID and everything else, they're like, how do we save money?
Yeah.
Oh, let's just make the actors that we already have hired the villains.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
I could believe it. I will be okay is if he is the Reverse Flash and then when he reveals himself, he does some kind of weird like morphine thing and morphs into somebody else. And it's some kind of technology he has from the future that can change his face.
Yeah.
I'll be okay with that. If he turns out that his Barry face was a fake face and
Hmm.
he just knows who Barry is, I'll be fine with that. But if it's literally just Barry and we're gonna have to see Reverse Flash Barry for 3 fucking movies or something like that, no. I Ezra Miller's fucking terrible as a bad guy. Go watch the Fantastic Beast movies. He's awful.
It's bad.
He sucks.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
Um,
I can take him as dorky Barry. Like I'm okay
yeah.
with that. But him being evil, ugh, gross.
I don't think I have any theories that we haven't talked about before, man.
Yeah.
I think Ben Affleck's gonna die.
Hmm.
Um, I think that we get a new status quo of,
You
uh,
think Ben's gonna die even with Ezra's ha 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 little comment?
yeah, I think he's gonna die
Yeah.
because the thing with with comic books in general, like characters can die, but they can always come back. So even if there are talks, it's all talk right now.
Yeah.
And if something falls through, they're like, okay, well, he can stay dead. And if it actually, happens, then it's like, okay, we'll write a way to bring you back. We're good, you know.
Yeah.
So I think right now Ben Affleck is Batman is gonna die. I think we will get a new status quo um, of DC,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, I think that this is spinning out of the Flash, not necessarily in the Flash,
Hmm.
but as a result of the Flash movie, I think Keaton will be in the bat suit for at least 3 more roles before he becomes the guy in the chair.
Yeah. That wouldn't surprise me. You think he gets his own Batman movie?
I don't want it
I don't want it
because
either.
legit, dude. Um, the people over at the Batgirl fan news or whatever
Hmm.
Twitter account have pictures of the mold of the cowl for
Yeah.
Keaton, and they had to mold his head. He does not look great.
Oof.
Like the cowl over the head, you can legit see every single wrinkle
Hmm.
from the cheekbones down.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, if he's gonna look like that in that bat suit, like he needs to fucking
I
retire
hope
as
I even if
quickly
he
as
does look like
possible.
that, I think it's fine if they play into the age.
Yes, and I
You
think
know.
that they will.
Hmm.
I think we will get the start of it
Yeah.
in Batgirl.
Yeah.
If anything, we'll get the start of it. Honestly, I think we'll get the start of it in the Flash.
Hmm.
We'll see it more in Batgirl, but I think there will be because I genuinely don't see them hiring Keaton and them not having the opportunity to put him with the actual Justice League for at least one time.
Yeah. Unless he's being hired to do Batman Beyond. You know what I mean? Because that's
That's
the
true.
one thing everybody's wanted. And it's going to be such a failure if he comes back as Batman and we don't get Batman Beyond.
Yeah,
You know what I
it
mean?
really would.
Because, like, you can have him be like, hey, Barry, like, I know I helped you save the universe or whatever, but I want to go home. You know what I mean? And then he sends him home, and then we see Terry, like, when he gets there. Like, we see this new, like, random kid doing something. And then it just hints at, like, Batman Beyond. You're just
Yeah,
like, oh, fuck. Because then that's just another Batman series that can live on its own, a la The Batman, and you don't need to tie it into anything, and then you can bring in all those wacky, zany fucking characters. You know what I mean? A man that glows fucking nuclear green or whatever, and
yeah.
all of that bullshit. Because they had some good characters too. Like, they had some awesome ones, and they didn't rely on fucking Joker and all that shit, which was cool. I mean, he made appearances, but yeah, I don't know. I want a Batman Beyond movie. I want that Batman Beyond series that we're supposed to be getting. So I'm
Oh
still
yeah,
waiting
in
on that.
comics, yeah.
I think it comes out in April, I think.
Hmm.
And then last one we got from Drew. What is your favorite Bat logo? Mine is Jim Lee Hush in the comics and Bale Batman in the movies.
So, see, when I first read this, I thought he meant the emblem, but the logo,
Yeah.
I will say, I think I like Batman Rebirth logo with
Ooh, that
Tom
one's
King's
good.
run.
Yeah.
But see,
Um,
also
I
the
really do like the Hush one though.
New 52 Batman logo is pretty sick too. The really pointy beat, like all the letters that have points are like
Yeah.
super pointy in that one as well.
Yeah. Oh, he's talking about. Oh, you're talking about the comic logo.
Yeah, not
Oh, I
not
do
the
really like New
emblem,
52.
not the emblem, but the
Yeah.
actual logo Batman.
Oh, watch. You know what? If we get this wrong and Drew's like, no, I meant like the actual emblem logo. That's on you, Drew.
Okay,
That's
well,
on you.
I will specify for me the logo. I will 100% say I like Batman Incorporated.
Oh,
The
okay.
the yellow oval is my
Yeah, because here's the thing: if he's talking about Hush, like there's not really a logo for Hush. It's just Batman over the word Hush in like impact font, like is what it looks like.
Yeah, but it's
Um,
still a design. It's an artistic
yeah, no,
design.
I agree. It's very simplistic. But I don't. I'm assuming I took it as the emblem on his chest, which I
Okay.
do like Jim Lee's version of the bat symbol, and because he's saying Bale, Batman Bale in the movies. That's the thing. That's why I think it like that. Because Bale didn't have his own logo in the Batman, did he? Like he had his own style of bat symbol, which was that spiky. I actually don't like that one, Drew. I'm sorry. It's okay, but I don't think it's the best.
I like
I
the
like Keaton's
batarangs
old
in
school.
Batman Begins.
Yeah, but
It's
it's
very
because they're
straight.
believable.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It
yeah,
goes with the logo. Um, I actually didn't mind Affleck's Batman, the fat looking one. You
yes.
know, looks kind of
There
cool.
was so many memes about it when it was first
Yeah,
made about like Fat Batman or
yeah,
whatever. But when we actually finally got to see him in costume, we're like,
yeah,
oh fuck!
yeah.
Because that
It
was
was
even
good,
a
man.
conversation that was going on in Discord about how I think it was Lucas who brought it up that he's like, it sucks that we'll probably never see him again, but he just looked like a menacing Batman.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping we get a last chance in the Flash. You know,
Yeah,
hopefully. It's not going to be Affleck in the suit, I don't think. It's going to be the stunt double majority of the time
yeah.
because Affleck was fucking, sexing it up with Jennifer Lopez while that was all going on. So, um, but yeah, I'm assuming he means that. But yeah, I'd probably go Affleck's or Keaton's. I'm not really. I mean, the Robert Pattinson's is okay, but I mean, we don't really know the story behind it or anything. It looks like the
Mhm.
two guns or whatever. We'll see. But yeah, I don't know. Very interesting. But I do really like Jim Lee's. I agree with that one. That one's pretty fire.
Yeah,
But I think that is all the questions we have for
yeah.
this
There
week.
was none on YouTube this week.
Okay. So if you guys are listening on YouTube, drop a question in that comment section for the next podcast so you guys can get on the podcast. But now we're going to move on to comic reviews, ladies and gentlemen, because we have 6 books to talk about. We're going to run through 2 really quickly because we haven't cared about these books or we haven't really been covering them. The first one is we're going to go to Deathstroke because we talked about this because Clay was like, yo, you need to check out what's happening because Deathstroke has become like the king villain, or I don't know what the hell his title is going to be, but he's like the new head honcho of all these villains. We read that a couple podcasts back. The only reason why I wanted to talk about this is because it kind of ties into Robin as well. We see at some point in this, the Justice League and everybody tries to go after Deathstroke. He's just nowhere to be found. And then we see Deathstroke's daughter and the kid from the island, the one to
Mhm.
want to be Deadpool.
Yeah.
Looks very similar to his son's outfit. And we know if you go and read Robin, he unmasked to Deathstroke's daughter. I forget her name. What's her name?
Rose.
Rose. He unmasked and he was like, who knows? He's like, nobody. He was like, I've been alone and my hatred's the only thing that's kept me company. She's like, you're not alone anymore. Follow me. That happens in Robin. So it looks like this is Deathstroke's son, right?
I think it will probably be Jericho. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's really the only thing that ties them together. And we do know that Robin is going to go into this new series with Deathstroke and Batman or whatever. It's going to be Shadow War or whatever. The only thing of substance that happened in Robin, and they're going to tell you, oh, Robin kissed what's her face, and this is his new romance, and all this other bullshit. I mean, a lot happened in that comic without a lot happening in that comic, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But the ending, after they defeated everybody, she's all like, Damien, this death chick kiss, and she's like, "What are you gonna go do?" And she's gonna go work with Doctor Death or whatever the hell his name is, and Robin's like, "I'm gonna go back to Gotham," and she's like, "Oh, are you gonna go with your dad?" And she does like the bat ears with the fingers, and he's like, "No, I have something else to go take care of." And he has a vial that we're assuming has Lazarus water in it or whatever. And at the end, we see a full page spread of Alfred Pennyworth's grave. Clay, you called this. He didn't win though, but I mean, it's still the same shit, you
Yep.
know. Thoughts?
I fucking knew it. Um, we're gonna have to see how this plays out
Yeah.
because I
You think Bruce
rest.
is mad if Alfred
Hmm.
comes back? Because here's the thing. Here's the thing. Think about how happy you would be if somebody you cared about, this could be a dog, this could be a person, died and came back. So you have more time with them. But remember, they're going to die again.
Oh yeah, that's always the big thing when it comes to resurrections, right?
Yeah.
Is like, oh, I was at peace. Why would you do this? Whatever.
Hmm.
Because let's face it, like Alfred is kind of up there in age, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, but the beauty about comics is he can stay that age forever.
Yeah.
Um, I Williamson has to be smart about this. He
Hmm.
has to make it impactful. He has to, because you can't just be like, "You're resurrected, cool. Let's that's a wrap. Let's go."
Yeah.
I will say it has to happen, and everything has to be done by the time Chip is on Batman.
I would argue it has to be done in Batman. You can't bring Alfred back in a side comic. You can't. He died in Batman. He was part of Batman. And to bring
He,
him back in a side comic is making Tim Drake bisexual in a fucking side comic. Everything of importance should happen in the main title, in my opinion. Unless it's Detective Comics, I'd let it slide.
yes, but you have to make other books important somehow.
Yes,
Like
I agree.
like
But
that would be my argument for that. Um,
but do you think Robin is on tier with Batman, the book? You know what I mean?
Now, the only thing I could say, the only way that it could happen in Batman is this whole Shadow War thing.
Yeah.
That, like, maybe he's on his way to go do it,
Mhm.
and this whole thing with Deathstroke happens, and he's unable to do it. And then in the Batman title, because Williamson is also writing that, they say, "Hey, I have this Lazarus water. Let's resurrect Alfred. It is something that he was never meant to die.
Yeah.
That was all my fault. Blah blah blah." They have this big emotional conversation, and we see if it happens.
Yeah.
Because at the end of that conversation, Williamson may actually convince the readers that maybe Alfred should stay dead,
Yeah.
or he can convince the readers that they definitely need to raise him from the dead.
Here's the thing I will say. If Alfred is coming back, how have we not heard about it yet? Nothing from us gets hidden in comics. It's very rare we don't know about something happening 3 months from now or whatever,
True.
especially somebody coming back.
Hmm. I I don't know, and I think if the resurrection of Alfred is coming in later after Shadow War,
Hmm.
that is why we haven't heard about it.
Yeah.
Because they will throw it all over the solicits. Even if it ruins the surprise, they
Yeah.
will say, "Hey, this is the issue. Alfred is coming back."
Yeah. For sure. I just, I, as a Batman reader, I just don't see Bruce being okay with this. So Damian will have to do it on his own. And
I can see that.
because why wouldn't Bruce do it himself? He knows.
Yeah.
Bruce at the same time could take the Lazarus water himself. He's definitely, every time he's got hurt, he could easily be dipping himself in Lazarus pool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he doesn't. He lets himself heal, or he fights through the pain, or does whatever he needs to do. He got, I will say that was one of the smartest things that Scott Snyder wrote into his book, was the whole Dionysium thing, where he got soaked in it or whatever, and it made him seem like he's 20 years old again. but he's his age with all the knowledge and everything, but he has like a 20-year-old body, he feels like. So that was the smartest thing. It healed all his wounds, any kind of craziness that he has. So that was solid. But it just goes to show you that, like, if Bruce knew he could bring anybody back, why wouldn't he do it? You know what I mean? And so, like, that's why I'm just curious. Damian would have to do this on his own, I think, and they would have to fight about it later. Like, this wasn't your decision to make. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we have to live with this. Because if and if he has this conversation, then and this is gonna be how Damian grows. So like in the future, if somebody does die, like his little girlfriend over here,
Hmm.
and Bruce is like, you can't bring her back. You can't do this for everybody, because if you do, why the fuck do you think I haven't done it? Like, it's not my decision to bring somebody back from the dead. Like,
Yeah.
I think you need to have powerful conversations like that, where characters learn.
And even the conversation of like, my look at my father. He came back from the dead and he
Yeah.
fucking tried to kill us all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it's very like death is a part of life, right? Like you have to deal with it. And they're in the game of trying to prevent it every single day,
Yeah.
but they're not God. And you know what I mean? And even dude, you want to know what would make it even more powerful is if that conversation was happening and it was getting heated and Superman shows up and he's all like, I heard you guys talking and I felt like I could say something. And then Superman talks about not being able to save everybody and be able to play because he's a god to humans.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like that would be fucking epic. And he's like, Damien, like, let me just tell you. And Damien would probably be like, I could be better than you. You know what I mean? And then John came in. Like, can you imagine if it was like an intervention?
Well, no, not because I mean Superman's off world right now.
Yeah. But you know
So
what I mean.
it would have to be John.
Yeah.
It would have to be John, and I think that would be
And
more
didn't he just let
impactful.
people die
Well,
or
he
something?
it,
Couldn't
it
save
was
them?
it was the fact that he wasn't able to save them,
Yeah.
and I think right now for these characters to be having these kinds of stories is very impactful
Yeah.
for younger readers, but also for these young characters. It will help them grow into the characters that we want them to be when they get older.
Yeah. Yeah, no, man. That's kind of what I miss. And like, I know a lot of people might not like certain writers because they, have an agenda or whatever, but I feel like a lot of those writers are also the same people that tell the best, like, impactful stories, in
Yeah.
my opinion. And yeah, I just don't understand why we don't get conversations like that, right? Like, because sometimes, like, I'll never get over how the fuck Jessica Jones died. Not Jessica Jones, Jessica Cruz died and then came back the next issue. Like, the fuck?
Fucking wild. Yeah.
Yeah, like why even do it? Like it made no fucking sense. Um but yeah, I don't know. I just don't understand stuff like that. And I wish that they would make the deaths matter. Like if you're going to bring Alfred back, like you can't just bring him back and Robin and not have like some crazy conversation with it. You know what I mean? And Bruce has to have emotions about this. He can't just be like, "What's up, Alfred?" You know what I mean? Like it cannot be nonchalant. It has to be a big thing, or it's just like wasted, and that would be unfortunate. But we'll see. And I don't know if I like the idea of Alfred coming back and Williamson not being on Batman. I just don't like that.
Yeah.
It's like I can understand if you were going to be on Batman for the next few years and you were going to bring him back and he's going to be a part of your story. That makes sense. But you're just giving him to Chip now if you bring him back. And like, what if Chip didn't have anything planned for Alfred?
But I think, and here's the reason why I think that they need to do it before Chip is on Batman is the
But
fact
Chip's
that
already like Chip's thing has to be written already.
he has to at least be almost done with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think what they like to do, even at Marvel, they do this, and I think they do it as a courtesy, really. And you see it sometimes in DC, not all the time. Is hey, this was my sandbox. Let me fix everything, and now you get to play with it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So the same classic characters are all available for Chip to play around with, and that will have to include Alfred.
Yeah. We'll see, man. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I would have went with my story, obviously, of how you would have brought back Alfred, but it is what it is. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see. I'm also curious to see what's gonna. Well, here, you want to know what really sucks is, and I don't know how this is Rosenberg right now, but I saw an article talking about how like Bane is back because he died and all that shit. Like,
Oh yeah, he's back in the Joker book.
yeah, and he's dead, or he's undead, or whatever, because of
He's
Task
in the
Force
Task
Z.
Force Z. Yeah.
Yeah, which is so dumb. Like, I don't know, man. Like, we dropped off of that book because we were questioning, like, how is Rosenberg doing so well with these other books, and we're not reading Task Force Z? Because I remember the first book was so dumb, and I'm sorry, Rosenberg, if you listen to this podcast, your other shit is phenomenal right now. But Task Force Z just was a dumb premise. And I actually saw CBR, of all people, saying that Marvel and DC need to let zombies rest in peace. That was literally their title. And I was like, you're not wrong, CBR. You're not wrong.
Well, I just think the what is it, the fad of zombies died out years ago. Like,
Yeah.
I genuinely think that The Walking Dead.
It died when Glenn died in The Walking Dead. That's when it died. Negan killed the zombie genre because that is when that show died. Everybody got so upset that Glenn died on the show that they were like, we're done with zombies. We don't fucking care anymore. We're done. You know?
Oh, shit.
That's what happened. Honestly, everybody stopped caring after that Negan season because Negan didn't die. That's why.
True. That is 100% true. And I'm not hearing anybody talk about this last season. It's the final season.
Yeah, I'm not caught up right now, but I caught up previously. This show was good again. I'm not going to lie. Like, it was good. And I was just like, oh, because the thing is, due to COVID, they had to do like single person episodes. They were pretty solid. Negan's could have been a little bit better, but like for what they were doing, it was pretty fire. Like, I was still very interested in the show. And when they brought back those, what were they called? The fucking...
The Whisperers?
Whisperers. Oh my God. When they fucking take out... I mean, if you haven't watched the show by now, this is on you. But when they take out Jesus, I was just like, oh! I was fucking in it. And then the way they do the big finale on one of those seasons, I was just like, oh! Like, I was fucking in it, dude. I was just like, damn, this is fire. Because I was off the show for a bit. Like,
yeah.
And again, this is what I tell people because they're like, oh yeah, Negan was just boring. I'm like, he was their Thanos. You can't kill him in one season. Like, come on. He's still, the series is over, but he never died in the comic, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah. So, like, what do you want? He didn't die. So, I don't know. But that is a whole universe that they're doing. I'm curious. They haven't made any of the movies yet. And nope. Rick's supposed to be in a movie. I think Michonne's going to be in one of those movies. So I'm very curious on what they're doing.
Apparently, Norman Reedus and Andrew Lincoln have been seen together in Georgia.
Oh, you think he comes back for the finale?
Probably.
Or do you think... I wonder how that would be, though. The thing is I heard that there might be a spinoff between Norman Reedus and what's-her-face, Carol.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which they were badass the whole time. You know what? I will say, shout out to that show. They never forced a romantic relationship with them.
Between those two?
Yeah. And they never forced Norman Reedus to have a relationship with somebody. Like, one of my viewers in my chat says he's a fucking asshole.
Well, apparently. Yeah. I was listening to Michael Rosenbaum on his podcast.
I was listening to that one you sent me. It was pretty fucking intense.
It's super intense. Sorry if I didn't put a trigger warning there.
Yeah.
But Kristen Kruick, who was also on Smallville, she gave a little insight. Apparently, there's somebody that is on the reoccurring set of The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
That does not shower when doing their role, like for that entire week of filming or 2 weeks of filming, so they can be in the actual role, so they can feel like they're in the role.
Is it Jared Leto? Seems like that method. Fuck. That wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, I mean, that's fucking method. That's insane. But yeah, I've had stories from somebody who's no longer in the Discord, but she used to do a lot of comic cons in an
Hmm.
area, and they said Norman Reedus was a fucking asshole. Like he would
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
destroy
yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
Like
I remember those
yeah.
conversations. Yeah,
So that's not because when you see him all the time, he seems like a legit dude.
yeah.
But yeah, I guess he's a fucking asshole. But anyways, that's a whole different universe. That's not even Batman. Watch Batman show up there. I'm Batman. We're the zombies. But anyways, let's move on to Human Target because you sent me something on Discord before we dive into this.
Holy
I what what
fuck.
happened?
Okay, I guess we could have done this in news, but
Yeah.
since we'll just say it here. There is going to be a 5-month break.
And you couldn't do this for Batcat? Are you fucking shitting me?
Holy shit, dude. So let
What
me pull it
happened?
up. Let me pull it up and actually get the
Yeah.
quotes down.
So after this issue,
So after this issue,
damn. I wonder if this is like King's doing or if it's the artist doing.
so it says here, the series title character Christopher Chance, blah, 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 human target. Let's see here.
Chance is gonna be dead by the time we get to read this.
So there is no like reason for it.
It says it's gonna take a 5-month hiatus.
It's just gonna. It just says that it's gonna take a 5 month hiatus. Now
Do you,
it's crazy because I sent this to a comic book group that I'm a part of,
yeah.
and they informed me that when I put this out, he said, yeah, and the hardcover for the first 6 issues is the week before that.
Huh?
So the week before
Yeah.
it comes out again in 5 months, the first six issues are already going to be collected in
So issue
hardcover.
6 is already done then.
Yeah.
So do you think that the artist needs more time, so they're taking a break? Or do you think King's maybe changing something and they need to redraw?
Well, King also just announced that he's on a new book.
That
So
new book looks fire.
maybe he might actually be juggling a little too much, so he needs more time.
It's possible, but we do know he works with artists that like to be perfect, it seems like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so pissed that this is taking 5 months off and we got 3 fucking issues of what's his face? Liam Sharp. I'm so pissed at that, man. I would have waited a year for Batcat. Like, seriously.
shit.
Because it would have been, it was after issue 6, right? So,
Yeah.
like, that's half of it. I could have waited fucking 5 months or a year or whatever and then got another 6 issues. I would have been fine. But we had to get Liam Sharp. Mr. fucking, let me just make this look super different. Why couldn't you get Mitch? Of all people.
Yeah.
I would have been fine with Mitch taking over for 3 issues. But
I don't even know what Mitch is doing nowadays.
was working on that fucking like 50 billion page script that Tom King turned in.
Oh, that's right. That's
You know what
right.
I mean?
Wait,
I bet you Mitch
is he
probably told Tom, like, dude, you need to give me your scripts a year in advance. Like,
is he on that new Tom King book?
pretty sure. Dude, they're
Okay.
never going to not work together.
True.
So, but yeah, anyways, Human Target number 5, which is, we won't be reading this for another 5 months, apparently. What did you think of this first book? I'm not going to lie to you, and this is something I noticed, because I was expecting to record a lot later today, ladies and gentlemen, so I had to speed read this. I don't think I can speed read Tom King books.
You can't. You
No.
can't.
Because
This
I was
book-
so lost.
This book made no fucking sense.
Mhm.
He tries. So this is something that he did with Batcat that he randomly put in the middle of the freaking Human Target series. He has 3 separate timelines
Yeah.
of telling a story, and by the end, it clicked and it doesn't make sense.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I just need to read it again. But tell me just give me your thoughts on the whole thing.
Okay, so here's the thing. We start off the book with somebody asking Chris to pass the salt.
Yes.
And throughout the entire issue, we see Chris going down to grab the salt and then actually passing it through the entire issue.
Mm-hmm.
And in between that, we're getting flashbacks of Chris and this woman, but we're also seeing Martian Manhunter with fire.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, Chris says, "Oh, you know, he asked me for the salt and I gave it to him." And during that time, like he's saying this in all the last few narration boxes.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, in all of that time, I gave him everything that he wanted, but he also gave me something.
Yeah.
And we learn that Martian Manhunter and fire have something to do with Lex Luthor.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the problem. That's not how Martian Manhunter's powers work.
What do you
Like
mean?
just because Martian Manhunter reads your mind does not mean that you get to read his mind.
True, but to bring in more sci-fi, granted I know all sci-fi is different, taking it back to one of the greatest Doctor Who episodes of all time, the Marie Antoinette one, a door
Mm-hmm.
open can be walked through either
Either
way.
way, yeah.
So you could play that if you wanted to, but I
Creative
don't.
liberties. I know. I
Yeah,
know.
yeah. It's grounded, Clay. It's grounded. So I don't know the extent of Martian Manhunter besides he gets burned by fire. I don't know that much about him, so I can't really argue against that here.
And
Um,
I want to also, like, that kind of bothers me. It's not that his, like, everybody's weak against fire.
yeah.
It's just that he is afraid of fire.
Mm,
And more so because it has more of like PTSD
yeah.
to him with how the destruction of Mars took place.
Yeah.
So there's that. But yeah, like I was very confused as of what the fuck was going on until the very last page. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's why it doesn't make sense, because it literally doesn't make sense. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's no way, unless Chris has powers, that he should be able to read Martian Manhunter's mind.
So here's the thing, though. From my understanding, and this is why I think it could work, is I think this woman, Emra, do you know her from anything? I feel like
I
she's a Martian.
Well, she said she's from Titan, which
Which,
is
what is that?
Titan is legit. If you Google right now, Titan is a moon of Saturn. That is real.
Okay, so she's an
Um,
alien.
but I have never heard of aliens from Titan being in the DC universe. Now, I could be wrong. You
Yeah.
know, Drew, I know you like to correct us on a lot of things. So if you want to be a fact checker for us, I'm sure we can look it up also. But I don't believe I can remember back to anything that references Titan as like a DCE or DC Universe, wiki or whatever
Yeah.
of alien species.
Is this it's very hard when you're going up against somebody with Tom King that has 10 more years of comic book knowledge than we do, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
And he's been reading, it seems like, everything because he
Yeah,
grew up on it.
yeah.
So, because I know when I read shit, like out of all these Batman books over here, there's probably like one obscure thing that happened in one of these Batman books that I loved that I wrote down. So if I ever get to put it in my book, I'll do it, and people will be like, "What the fuck? Batman can never do that." I'm like, bitch, over here, fucking issue, blah 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 blah, and whatever. It fucking happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this could be something Tom King knows that we don't. And the thing is, I can't really make a case for or against Tom King here because, dude, I read this book so fast. I was like, what is happening? And I was like, I need to read this again. But I didn't want to make you wait any more than I already made you wait. So I was just like, this is something I'll have to read on my own time. But let's excuse the whole like way he got the information because I feel like maybe it is something with a reread I might be able to explain if I understood it all. What are your thoughts on the idea of one? I love the contrast between Chase and Ice hooking up together, and
Hmm.
like she telling him like, "Are you okay with this? It's gonna get cold, all that kind of jazz," and he's gonna essentially kind of suffering
And then
through.
it like goes into fire.
it goes into Fire and Martian Manhunter,
Yeah.
and he doesn't like fire or it's gonna hurt her. And then there was this weird thing of like she was essentially teaching him how to have sex,
Yeah.
you know? And she was like, you gotta keep going on, you gotta keep doing this. This book really made Fire look suspicious.
Oh yeah.
Super big time.
Yeah.
So, does this make you question Ice, or do you think Ice is innocent and Fire is maybe working alone? Like working. I just don't think John would do that though. So, is she playing John? Like John doesn't know, and is he just refusing not to read her mind?
I think it's the tale of,
Or are we all
and
just getting swerved?
I will say this, guys and ladies, it's all
Yeah,
happened
we
to
have a
us.
7% audience, all right, that are female, okay?
I
Just
will
throwing it
say
out there.
this. That first time, boom, it is like, oh, like wrapped around your finger, like I'll do anything, blah 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 blah.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
true.
think that the Fire got Martian Manhunter. I think
So,
I
yeah, it was very interesting because she was saying, she was like, you suck, and humans don't do it like that, so you gotta, like, work on it. And
but also remember, there was a mention of money, was there not?
yeah, that was from Booster Gold. So, what I was getting at is Martian Manhunter, or Fire needed money, so she told Martian Manhunter to get money somehow, but wasn't it Booster that needed the money?
For
So,
his bagel shop.
yeah. So, is Martian Manhunter being played? And is Booster a part of this somehow?
See, like that's like I had to like second guess some of the things that were being said because I was like, what is the money for?
Yeah. Well,
And
to pay the hitman, was it?
so it was, yes. So
Yeah.
like, is everybody, and I feel like this might be a cop out, but like, is unfortunately everybody involved in the murder of Chris because
Hmm.
they unintentionally were, just being friends, helping each other out,
Yeah.
and it was all the ploy of Fire trying to kill Lex.
Maybe. It would be interesting. Unless it's all a swerve to prove that it was Ice this whole time. And Ice had some kind of Ice could have been telling, because the thing is, we don't have any confirmation that Fire right now used that money to hire anybody, because Fire could have needed the money for Ice somehow, because we know that Fire has always been like protective of Ice, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was kind of shown in the first couple issues or something like that, or vice versa, either way. But I think this kind of does question whether Ice could be part of everything as well too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The mystery is still there, but I totally got what Tom King was trying to do. But the one thing that throws me off when I read this book is the way the quotes and the dialogue are in the same color. Like they're both white box and white circle. Like usually in Batman and stuff, they're kind of off colored or differently, and it tells you who's speaking. That's what
Hmm.
confuses me. So I'm just like, oh, I was like, I got to reread this to really know. And then he was doing the 3 different things at the same time, which I was like, oh, what the fuck? And but I know had I had time to read it, I would have been like, oh, okay, it's just Tom King's weird thing. Because
Yeah.
again, this is the way I tell people to read Tom King's books: is you got to play it out as a TV show or a movie. When he does this crazy shit, just imagine a flashback the way a TV show would do it, and imagine that's how Tom King writes it. Because he also, I think his mom worked in TV or some shit like that. Like,
Yeah, she
so
did. And
he
for
knows
me,
that.
what if I have more time to like do a second reread?
Yeah,
What I like to do personally is I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna do the flashbacks first
yeah,
and read that as a story, so I get like one coherent. Okay, this is what happened here. Go
yeah.
to the main thing and then look at the other like in between stuff.
Yeah, because the cool thing that actually happens in this issue, though, is we get Human Target's origin.
Yeah.
which was he became a human target because one, he wasn't good enough to be like a winner. So this Mira person told him, well, we'll make you the best loser. And that's why he's like, instead of saving people, you're going to take the bullet for people.
Yeah.
And that's how he became his thing. But he became a human target because he tried to save his dad and failed. And his dad was like, become successful, be somebody. And he's like, I'll make sure. He told him, like, when his dad was dying, like, I'll make sure I'm the so-and-so, whatever, whatever. And his dad was like, yeah, he didn't care, he died. And then that's just kind of what happened. He's like, my father didn't hear me say the last part. But, you know, and then that's where his origin story is. And I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty kind of interesting that we get this, he decided to be, you know, it's his Batman story.
Yeah.
But he's going to be this human target and he becomes a spy and everything like that. And that's why I need to go back and reread it to kind of see who this Mira person was that was being held hostage by somebody that looked like Lex Luthor, you know, just another generic bald guy. But
it did. I was like, wait, is that Lex? What the fuck?
yeah,
Like,
because
we're
he
going
died.
full
He gets
circle
shot.
here.
Yeah, he gets shot at the end, and then this chick's able to go back home or whatever because she gets the key to her spaceship or whatever. So he's learned from an extraterrestrial being to be great. So you know, he's obviously better than most, which is pretty interesting. Which is why I'm really excited to see him if he's gonna question Batman at all. Like, when does that issue happen? Because that's going to be real, like two detectives going back and forth. Like, I really hope that's what we get.
Yeah.
Because, like, you think Batman's trying to solve this on his own too?
Well, we've only heard Batman by name. We haven't seen him yet. So there might be like a revelation of like, oh, by the way, you know, I've heard the rest of the JSA has been talking.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been pulling my own investigation, and this is the information that I have.
Yeah.
Like, I can see something like that happening, but I can definitely see Chris still being like guards up, trying to find more information, like as far as like Batman himself, rather than the information that he gives him.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I'll be interested to see where this goes. But yeah, definitely, I cannot speed read Tom King books. Like, it's just, I got lost. So, moving on to the next book that we have is Catwoman. What did you think of this? Because this is the second issue of a new writer, and I have to say, dude, I want this as a poster. This Catwoman pinup is fucking phenomenal.
I always forget her name. She did a whole bunch of variant covers for Wonder Woman and Rebirth. And I believe...
like, those are phenomenal. I would like them as prints or posters. I don't want them as comic books.
Jenny Friesen.
Yeah. Or I would like the original piece of art.
Yeah.
Like, that would be fire. But yeah, those Catwomans are great.
For one, I will say I'm iffy on the art in this book. There's some things that I really like. There's some things that I don't. There's kind of one panel that got me really out of it. Like,
when she got scared?
Yes.
Yes, I knew it.
She got scared and she immediately had anime eyes. And I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, I knew that was so weird. It's out of place.
Yeah. But this feels like a Catwoman book still.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
As far as where it's going, I'm not entirely sure. Like I don't know if it's just really hard to like kind of feel where the story is going or what exactly she is attempting to do. Like, I know that it's still surrounding Black Mask, but like I don't necessarily know what the end goal is here.
I agree with that.
You know?
After reading this, do you think it got away from the sexual tension thing, or is it kind of still there?
I think that it got away, but it can always come back, unfortunately.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Especially with the last line of this.
Mm-hmm.
Because like we said, we were like, oh shit, you know, there's going to be sexual tension between these two, and we'll kind of just jump to the ending right now. She wakes up from getting shot from rock salt. Yeah. Like point blank. And this new guy, that looks like Ghostmaker,
Yeah.
helps her, heals her up or whatever, bandages her up. And she was like, oh, I'm in front of a fucking psychopath
Yeah.
because he ended up killing everybody in that museum.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, so a lot happens in, again, I used this earlier too. A lot happens in this book, but a lot doesn't happen in this book, it feels like.
Yeah.
Because what ends up happening is we know in the last issue this guy, this wannabe Ghostmaker ended up bringing, that's a terrible sentence to say because that's even worse. Like Ghostmaker himself is bad. But this wannabe Ghostmaker got all of the what do they call it, like the trinkets or whatever from every mob boss, and this ends up getting, we find out at the start of the thing, Selena wanted to go check on the girl that hit Black Mask, because in Gotham, if you hit someone of the mob bosses, you're probably going to end up dead.
Yeah.
And so she was like, I want to go check on her. She gives this speech about wearing a wig, and she was like, Batwoman would never be caught in a wig like this. But she mentioned stuff like, but wigs, I like to wear wigs because it can make men feel like they're cheating on their spouses. Or she makes some interesting comments, like
Yeah.
whatever. I think she's trying to really lean into the sexiness of Catwoman and kind of those kind of topics in this book. But anyways, she finds out this girl was dead in her apartment. Black Mask's people already got to her. So she's going on a spree of trying to figure out where's Black Mask goons, where's Black Mask or whatever. She ends up coming across this one guy. He has some stuff set up to where he knows that people like Catwoman like to hide in the vents, so he has some security systems. Catwoman's like, ooh, you almost got me, but blah, blah, blah. That's where we get that weird anime panel. And she was like, I could kill you, or I could beat the shit out of you, or you can just work with me because I know you hate your dad. And so they come up with this kind of scheme and get everybody in the same room. And Selena is just like talking to this guy. And in the background, she hears that those guys were talking really bad about that girl. They're like, oh man, I can't believe we had to like kill a hot girl. It's always worse when they're hot. We got to kill them. You know what I mean? So that pisses off Selena. She comes through the window with her motorcycle, beats the shit out of everybody. This is interesting because we're reading this in Tom King's book right now. She wants to kill this guy. She's all like, I could kill this guy right now. Like, Batman wouldn't do this, but I could do it. But then we see like she gets stopped by the son or whatever. And she's like, you don't want to do that, Selena. You're going to be hiding bodies. And then she's like, I'm not a killer, but
Yeah.
like this guy deserves it.
I thought she was going to go that route.
I was a little scared there.
The way they really show it is kind of intense because she crashes through this building and the motorcycle literally hits one dude, but she lets it glide against the ground, and with him being the buffer, and gets stuck on this counter, and she like knocks the shit out of him, and she is going all out, claws out. And I was like, oh, fuck, she's going to kill somebody right now.
Yeah, because it's a silhouette of her claws out, and it's red. So it looks like it's going to be the kill shot, which was kind of cool.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, shit, I think this will be interesting. Now, I feel like it's interesting because whenever somebody who is attempting to still be good, fucks up, we know that Batman won't be very far behind,
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, this may bring them back together for better, for worse. Maybe it could bring something to light.
Yeah.
And then she just stops. And I'm like, okay, cool. That is good that she knows her limits still.
Yeah.
Even though she's heated, and for good reasons, to be completely honest. But we find out that the son of this mob boss, he, Selena knows. He's like, dude, he wants you dead. And
the dad and
the friend.
Yeah.
Well, then we learn immediately after that friend is more than a friend.
Yeah, he's his lover.
Yeah. And so she runs off, and she's like, this kid doesn't even know, I saw the pain in his eyes, but he just wants to feel loved right now. So I'm not going to break his heart, blah, 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 blah. And she goes off to this museum, and it's more of, like I said, these villains turning good. They probably have that one, intrusive thought of man, I could steal again. I could do something again.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, oh man, this diamond, it's one of the last uncut diamonds, probably left from this area.
Yeah.
But, it's going to soon get all, broken up, and it's going to be a tragedy, blah, 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 blah. we see Mr. Ghostmaker or whatever. He's like, "Oh, do you know the secret of this whole thing?" And she's like, "Oh, well, they say it's from here, but I'm sure it's just one dude who stole it off of this one, um, piece of land and claiming that he is the sole founder of it or whatever." He's like,
Mhm.
"Yeah, just the generic stuff that happens when things like this are put into museums."
Yeah.
And she's like, "What the fuck do you want?" And he's like, "Oh, well, we could steal it." And she's like, "No, I don't want to do that." Well, in the middle of this tussle, we see that man's lover
Yeah.
and the two guys that she fucked up at that restaurant.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Okay, we got to be quiet. Let's see what they're doing." And this dude just like mouths off and is like still kind of just heated over everything that had just happened at the restaurant. And so she's like, "You know what? I'm going to fuck him up." She jumps down and is about to do something. This dude is quick to the draw because he freaking comes out with a sawed off shotgun and you just see blam.
Yeah.
And it comes to like this like dreamscape type of thing
Yeah.
of these two surgeons and Batman.
Mhm.
Now, is this also supposed to be some sort of like flashback or
It
something?
is.
So
So,
I didn't read this story. You
yeah.
did.
It's called The Heart of Hush. So, after Hush was defeated by Batman and Catwoman, he noticed their relationship because if I'm not mistaken, that was like one of the first kisses or whatever between Batman and Catwoman back in the day or whatever. So, or I don't know, something important like, didn't happen prior or whatever. But anyways, I could be wrong on that statement. But Hush comes back. He was like, I know how to get at Batman. And he comes after Catwoman and literally removes her heart because that's what Batman wants or whatever. You know what I mean? So he steals
Mhm.
her heart. And so she's like literally alive on a table because of how good of a surgeon Hush is. And he's like, they're like, how the fuck are we going to save her? So Batman has to get her heart back, literally. So that's kind of that whole story. It's not as good as Hush. I'm going to tell you right now. But Selena at the end of that story, to kind of ruin it for everybody, um, does get her heart back, and she ends up taking all of his wealth, if I'm not mistaken, at the end of it. So that's how she's able to have a shitload of money, is because she comes back and she's like, if you're gonna steal my heart, I'm gonna steal everything you have, and she steals
So,
all his shit.
question.
Mm-hmm.
With this kind of callback, does it give this writer any kind of like points for you or
Yes. So when we talk about detectives' backstory, I will say yes. I love when characters try to write their stories into the history of
oh, yeah,
Batman.
yeah, 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 I know what you're talking about, yeah.
I really appreciate this because I think we covered this in the Robin annual, not the Robin annual, the Robin 80th anniversary when that one writer wrote the Nightwing story during No Man's Land,
Yeah.
and it was just a random little story in No Man's Land. I've always talked about how if I ever get to create an original character that's maybe in the Batman universe, I would like to do something maybe involving Zero Year, like
Nice.
they were a part of Zero Year somehow. Because like No Man's Land is a little out of my league, and I feel like Zero Year is the new thing. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Because Court of Owls ain't going anywhere. So like Snyder's Run will forever be a part of Batman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think 0 Year is also pretty big. But again, we always talk about how all of DC comic continuity is in flux, so everything's
Hmm.
happened and nothing's happened at the same time. So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of what I would do. I would like to put something in there. I would eliminate Joker War altogether. But like, I wouldn't be writing anything in there. But I'm pretty sure there's a younger writer that read Joker War and is like, oh man, I would love this side story of fucking Clown Hunter going to fight Joker and he actually should have fucking died. Like that would have been a better story. But anyways, yes, it gets brownie points for me. But yeah, and then again, like you said, the Ghostmaker wannabe, ends up killing those people, and Selena literally says like, he isn't wrong. That's my first thought is when, because he says like, this is justice for Christie. And then she was like, have you ever had someone hold you so close and tell you they'd kill for you? And then you get that terrible reminder that you're alone with the killer.
His name is
So
Valmont.
Valmont. Valmont the Ghostmaker. So is what I'll call him. He has this, why? That stupid weird do rag thing is so weird. Like, why is everybody into that lately?
I don't know.
It's so weird. Now, granted, Batman the Animated Series, Batman wears one of those under his cowl. So
Yes, he does.
yeah. So, if he ever has to remove his cowl, he's like, I did it, bitch. I did what you said to do, but I'm still my identity. And they're like, drat. But yeah, I don't know if this is a play on words or Pokemon, but the fucking next thing is called Harder Than Onyx. That's pretty hard. So,
Onyx is actually a stone.
oh, what?
It's actually a stone.
Oh, I think it's a Pokemon. That's more relevance to me. I mean, Onyx is a stone Pokemon, so. But yeah, I mean, overall, second issue of the new writer. I don't care. I like where it's going. I think Catwoman talks a little too much in her head.
There's a lot of narration. Like
Yeah.
after we see like the whole lover scene,
Yeah.
the very next page is all inner dialogue.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not like it's a huge square where you're putting everything. It's little squares all over the freaking place. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ. Just
so a lot of reading. The art doesn't really bother me too much. And yeah, I don't know where the story is going necessarily, but it's not something that would keep me from wanting to read it. As long as she doesn't dive into the whole like forbidden love kind of thing with somebody else, which would be really weird at this point now that, she just witnessed him kill some people. Like, that would be super against Batman's wheel, like, what Batman would be into. So I'm hoping this is just building a new villain for her, and it's not going to be some weird loving relationship kind of thing, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be a part of the next few issues, so we'll see what happens there. Because that one cover that people were freaking out about hasn't even come out yet. I don't think that comes out for like 2 or 3 more issues. Yeah. So, we'll see. But anyways, let's move on to Detective Comics. Shit is finally hitting the fan.
Finally.
And nothing still happened here.
Man, is that going to be the title of this episode?
I have no, it'll probably be something with Batman sucks again. So sorry, Chip. I'm just saying, man, you got to prove me wrong first.
Oh shit.
But yeah, man, I don't think anything really happened here. Like we're still just finding out about where, like, oh yeah, time's running out for him, and we're finally getting to D-Day, which is, him getting thrown out of the window. Yeah. Like literally, like it was honestly nothing was happening. It was just getting to that point.
I mean, the only thing, honestly, is that a lot more people were inside the tower than we probably first thought.
Yeah.
Nakano's wife is there. Cass and Dick Grayson are in there. Batwoman had a like face-to-face conversation with Nakano, which was weird.
Yeah.
Like, especially with like Batman probably relayed the message of like, hey, Nakano's going to be working with us. Yeah. But like, I thought it would be in secret when one of his secretaries is all like, oh yeah, by the way, Batwoman's here to talk to you. Like, that was a little weird.
Mm-hmm. Well, didn't he make a statement or something in the first couple issues that he was going to be working with the Batman?
Did they?
Wasn't there something along those lines? Like there was going to be a special forces or something. I don't know. Something along, because he also said he was going to be working with a reporter. Like he was going to be more open with stuff or some shit like that.
Oh, maybe.
Because remember, Batman is liked now after he got rid of the magistrate. So, he could be a little bit more open with that kind of stuff. But yeah, eventually here, like, we have what's-his-face's Psycho Pirate's hold breaks. And everybody goes crazy. And they shut down Arkham. And we have some people stuck inside. Some people die. Penguin's like, give me my money. The freaking party crashers are like, give us our money. So Ware is like, oh, fuck. The check clears in like an hour or two. Like, just do your shit for an hour or two. And then we're out. Well, Nightwing's all like, bro, like, what's going on here? And then the party crashers show up, and it's just an extra, like, 4 people. And he's like, oh, fuck, I can't do it anymore, man. My mind is going crazy. So he can't control these people, and he loses it. Yeah. Like, he loses it. He doesn't try to go into the, like, everybody sleep mode or anything. He just loses control. Dick Grayson's like, it's Psycho Pirate, blah, blah, blah. And then all hell breaks loose. And then we see that one guy that, Batwoman had issues with has a gun to Ware's head. And he's like, yeah, it's over for you, buddy. And the next one's called The Fall, the next question. So
we know what happens.
I think this would have been more interesting had we never got that preview,
Mm-hmm.
because we know where this is going. It's just taking forever to get there.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think that was just a bad storytelling thing to be done, of showing us where we're going to end up, because
One thing that did bother me though,
Mhm.
when the Bat family is in the cave,
Yeah,
they are like making plans to like get Oracle in a new secure area, and
yeah,
they're like, uh, make the Batwoman was ordering another Batgirl to like make sure
Orphan.
Oracle was safe,
Yeah,
and I was like, she's still Batgirl.
yeah,
She's Oracle right now, but she's still Batgirl. Like,
yeah,
yes, it's good to have backup or whatever, but you're acting as though this person cannot take care of herself.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
very odd.
See, it's okay when women say that to other women, but men can't do that. We want to make that chauvinistic conversation. But no, yeah, I did think that was kind of weird. But I was also thinking this though, is it would be smart for Batwoman to have the backup for Oracle, because one, Oracle is not in suit, she's not in costume, so she probably
Yes.
doesn't have all her gadgets. But at the same time, I would assume you would need Oracle to shut down everything in that cave now that they're been noticed.
Mhm.
So she would probably, just imagine you putting your PC together and you have to worry about people trying to kill you while doing it.
Yeah.
So probably best that you have somebody to watch your back. So that's kind of how I took it. So I was just like, all right, whatever. But nothing else happens in this story. Like, this didn't need to be week to week, in my opinion.
No.
None is the only good thing that it's week to week is that we get Rosenberg's story.
Yes.
That's the only good thing. So at the back of this book, we get the continuation of Rosenberg's story, and I absolutely love this. And the reason why is because I love that Rosenberg is giving us a story through time. And it's with Batman, and it's covering some of Batman's most points. Now, the last issue just kind of seemed like, oh, it's another flavor of the weak villain. It's Bane this time around. He's
But
letting people
it
out.
leads immediately into this
Yes,
story.
which is taking place during the era of Nightfall.
Yeah.
So Bane has broken Batman's back. Bruce is in a wheelchair, and Tim Drake is Robin.
Yep.
And this is pretty awesome because Batman is still obsessing over this kid. He's like, you need to go find this kid. And he's like,
Dude,
why?
he calls him a mistake.
Yeah, which
He's
is
like,
fucked up.
he's like, because Tim was like, this kid doesn't look very menacing. He doesn't look
Yeah,
dangerous at all. And Batman's like, no, he's not dangerous. He's a mistake. I'm
yeah.
like, God damn.
A lot of us are mistakes, Batman. Chill out. Jesus. Um, but anyways, so he's like, you need to go do this. He's like, why don't I get John Paul Valley? Like, so John Paul Valley is Batman right now, which is what we know. And if you have not read Nightfall before, ladies and gentlemen, John Paul Valley, aka Azrael, is not a good Batman.
No,
He's
he.
very brutal, and he thinks Gotham is his. To the point where he gets so crazy that once Batman heals up, Batman has to beat his ass. So like, it's pretty crazy. But anyways, so that's the era that we're in right now. And Batman, Bruce Wayne, tells Tim, he was like, you need to do this, not John Paul. Like, this kid needs to talk to somebody that's sensible and whatever.
Yeah.
So this kid is like, yo, what's going on out there? And because he keeps looking out the window thinking Batman's gonna crash through it and come for him. And the other dude that's supposed to help him get out of Gotham, he's like, we're getting the hell out of here. He's like, you're getting out of here too? And he's like, yeah, we got a freight in 30 minutes. We're going to both get out of here. We got new names and everything. He's like, but you love Gotham. He's like, yeah, but Gotham doesn't love you back. And I was like, damn. I was like, okay, I like that. And we see Anarchy throwing like flames and shit. And they're like, who the
In
hell's
his
that guy?
old costume. Like,
Yeah.
old school costume. I love this, dude. It
Yeah.
was
And
great.
so the kid is like, who's that? And he's like, oh, he calls himself Anarchy or something like that. And so they're running away from all this craziness that's happening in Gotham. And then they're running down an alley and Tim Drake's there. And they're like, oh, get away from me. And he tries to shoot him. Drake knocks the gun out of the other kid's hands. Previously, the little redheaded kid got a knife from the other kid. And he's like, you're going to want this. Trust me. And he denies it at first. He's like, I don't want it. And he's like, no, you're going to need it. And so he tries to send it, like, hit him at Drake. And like, he's like, Drake's just like, bro, I'm not here to hurt you. Like, I genuinely just want to help you. I'm here to help you. You, not your friend, you.
No, and then he's like, "Oh, I work for somebody. He told me to come find you." And he's like, "Batman?" He's like,
Yeah.
"It's kind of complicated. I can't
Yeah.
really answer that." He's like, "So it's Batman." He's like, "No, that's not what I mean. Just like
Yeah.
come with me. Everything will be explained." And then you fucking see John Paul Valley, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, you're that escaped, freaking inmate from Arkham. You're coming with us." And he fucking like starts to fight him, throws a batarang at him,
Yeah.
freaking getting launched in the redheaded kid's like ankle.
Mm-hmm.
Like John Paul Valley is not letting up on this small child,
Yeah.
and he fucking throws a batarang at. Well, the little kid is able to get a good hit on Batman's face,
Yeah.
and he like staggers, and he's like, "You bastard!" And he fucking throws a batarang at the
No,
kid's back.
he stabs him with the batarang. If
Does
you
he
look at
stab
it,
him, or I
he
thought it
stabs
was...
him in the neck with the batarang.
What the fuck? I
The
did not
kid
see
does.
that.
He takes it out of his ankle and stabs John Paul Valley. That's why John Paul
Oh,
Valley
okay,
gets all
okay.
pissed.
Okay. And then he shoots a batarang with this like grappling kind of gun. And shoots
Yeah.
batarangs, shoots him in the back. This kid falls over this bridge, and then is just laying there. Tim Drake's like, "What the fuck did you just do, man?
Yeah.
Like, I was supposed to save that kid." He's like, "No, you were supposed to help me save this city, and you're just in my way." It's like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
And then somebody's just like, call 911. And that's just like, and then I thought this was going to be the end of the story, but it says to be continued. So is this going to be the moment that pushes the kid over the edge?
So here's the thing, because I feel like this kid is somebody that we know.
Yeah.
Do you have any theories?
It would be, I just don't think it could be anybody. It can't be anybody huge. It has to be somebody random. That's why I think maybe that Nero guy.
See, I was thinking the same thing, but I mean, yes, Tim Drake has aged,
Uh-huh.
and we have seen that he is like in like college years.
Yeah.
So that would make sense for the last time we've seen this Nero guy. He even made an appearance in this, the front of Detective in the main story. I think it might be him. Like,
yeah, it's very possible because we don't know Nero's age.
Yeah.
And Tim Drake, this could be 10-year-old Tim Drake for all we know. You know what I mean? We don't know how old this kid is. But yeah, if this kid is like 13, 14, and, we say Tim Drake is 10 here, he ages up 6 years to be like 16, because we know Robin's around 13, 14 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. And that Nero guy could be in his early 20s or so.
Yeah.
I think it's all kind of doable in the timelines. But no, man, this was one of those things like you were mentioning with the Catwoman thing. I love it. Fucking love it. Like when you can incorporate, because nobody knew about this fucking character a kid prior to Rosenberg writing this character.
Mm-hmm.
So just, you can tell so many stories within other great stories, which is really awesome. And I think some of the best writers do that because you're acknowledging history at that moment. And as long as you're not stepping on that history and altering it in some way, a la Kevin Smith making fucking Batman piss his pants when he blew up in year one. How do you ever... He smokes too much. At this point, like, as long as you don't ruin the original comic that is great, then I think adding to it there's no problem with it, right?
Yeah.
Alan Moore wouldn't agree with you, but I still think that's one of the best things that you can do as a writer. But yeah, absolutely love this. I've only really cared about Detective for the last few weeks because of this backstory. So I have to say I'm excited. But let's move on to the last book of the week, ladies and gentlemen, and that is DC versus Vampires. And I finally got kind of what I've been wanting, and that is these people fighting the Justice League.
Yes.
Because that's essentially what this whole book was. Now, it seems like your boy is gonna get screwed. So what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on the whole issue, to be honest? And how did you feel about the art changes?
So the other piece of art I actually love. That is my boy Simone. Simone excuse me, Simone is how you
Hmm.
pronounce it. He has been on Power Rangers. Um, he was on the Harley Quinn
Yeah, yeah. Future
story
State.
in Future State. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I love the Harley Quinn
absolutely,
design here. Actually,
I really, really loved his part. When I was looking through it the first time, I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
it was weird.
Because it was such a dramatic change from Otto
Yeah,
Schmidt's. But I do like how Task Force X is a part of this. Like,
yeah.
is actively looking to see the Suicide Squad is actively trying to see what the fuck is going on with all of this.
Hmm.
So I really enjoyed that. Simone's design for fucking Batgirl, oh,
Yeah.
looks so good. Um, and then the whole fight with the Justice League, man, I really enjoyed it. Like, and even the kind of back and forth with Ollie and the Justice Leaguers, he's like,
Yeah.
man, when he makes that comment
The
with
cyborg.
his cyborg,
Yeah.
like you can take it so bad because then you're like, dude, that's a black dude. Like,
Yeah.
what's wrong with you? He's like, oh, don't think I meant the cyborg part because we all accepted you when that all
Yeah.
happened, man. You're like, you're good, you're good. It's just
Yeah.
the vampire part. Yeah, no, we're not good there.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. I love how when Bruce basically uses all of Gotham's power grid,
Hmm.
everybody's checking in. Damien is legit just in a diner eating. He's just like, yeah, come pick me up, please.
Yeah. Is he, or is he in like an apartment?
It looks like he's in a diner.
I think he's eating a burger. I just don't know if he's. Yeah, he might be in a diner. Actually, you're right. You're right. Yeah. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, it was pretty cool because Batman doesn't, which is kind of crazy here because everybody's trying to fight. Like Superman is like got Batman by the neck or the essentially like, you need to stop this, Bruce. We can help you. And he kicks something in his mouth and spits kryptonite in his face.
Yeah.
Now this is something I'm just going to assume Batman put in there for the time being because he knew he was gonna have to fight the Justice League at some point.
Yes. It's
I
not
don't
like
think
he
he has
always
this in
has
his
it in
mouth
there.
all the time. You
It's
think so?
it's not like it's not like it's a cavity that he's like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put kryptonite in there just in
Yeah.
case. No, I think it's legit. He knew the Justice League was coming, so
Yeah.
he's like, hey, let me off panel, let me
Yeah.
go ahead and slip this into my mouth and
So
be able to fight him.
yeah, they're fighting everybody, and then Cyborg is like, "Whoa, everybody, chill out! Like, let's just get the story here." And he was all, and this is what I loved about Cyborg, and it sucks because we don't get a lot of Cyborg in a lot of stories anymore. But he's all like, "Look, we can figure it out." He's like, "I didn't do this. I didn't kill him." And he was like, "Well, where is the evidence? It could be altered." And he's like, "This was freaking Hal." And he's like, "Hal's like, oh, what the hell, man? You can fake that stuff." And he's like, "I have the evidence if you want to check it out." And he's like, "Oh, we don't think Batman can alter it." And I love how Cyborg's like, "Hal, chill out, dude."
I
Like,
don't like how you want to fight so much right now.
yeah, he was like, "I
Is
don't
what
like
he
how you
says.
want to fight so bad. It's kind of sus." Like, I like how he's saying that. And I'm like, "Thank you. That's common sense right there." And he was like, "Hey, if you want to make sure that they weren't altered, Cyborg, since you're this all-powerful being with computers, check it out yourself, my guy." And he's all like,
This
"All
was
right."
clever.
And
This
then
was
just
clever.
uses all of Gotham City to overload Cyborg. And I was just like, "Damn!" And Green Arrow's like, "Dude, did you really do that? Like, what the hell? He's our friend." He's like, "We can't assume anybody's our friends right now." And he's like, "Noted."
No, and he's like, at least you only use the Batcave. He's like, nah, that wasn't just the Batcave.
Yeah, and that's when we see everybody in the different areas, which this is perfect for the Bat family because they live in the dark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's good for them. Yeah, and it's really cool again to see the Suicide Squad show up here. Batgirl's connecting with them. So is there going to be like a Suicide Squad team up with Batman and Green Arrow? That would be kind of cool because this is the one time they can really work together because killing vampires is not an issue. So that'll be kind of cool. And Batman's just got fucked up. Like, so he really needs that help because what we see happening after the power goes out is Batman uses because Green Lantern's like has his lamp. He's like, "Where are you guys at? You can't hide forever." Then he uses one of the boxes from the Tower of Babel, it looks like, and opens it up, and all this yellow dust blows out.
Yeah,
And
it's yellow light, and he like gives it all the way down to like the granite size.
yeah,
To Green Arrow, and he's like, what the fuck, dude? Like,
Yeah,
like, what are you fucking doing here? And he's like, oh, it'll be fine. Like, you know, we just, like you said, we can't assume that these guys are our friends anymore.
yeah,
And like, even with Martian Manhunter, he's like, come find us when you come back, and he throws him into a teleporter and then destroys it.
yeah,
I'm like, what the fuck? But
yeah.
I do think that Bruce knows. It doesn't seem like Ollie really knows,
Hmm.
but it seems like Bruce knows that not everybody is turned.
Yeah.
So he is only knocking them out. And
Hmm.
he's like, I know that Hal and Wonder Woman are turned. I don't think anybody else is. So we're
Yeah,
only going to subdue everybody else.
for
So I
sure.
really do like that.
Yeah, and I love that Ollie's like, I know you know how to beat all of us, so like, how do we beat Wonder Woman? He's like, her friends, but that's not on the table anymore because they're all beat up already and they're all turned. So he's all like, oh fuck, we could take her, right? And you're like, oh, we can try. And
Dude, I legit thought this was going to be one of those moments where Batman died.
yeah, I could have sworn it, but like. You would think Wonder Woman would try to kill him, but they wanted to convert him so bad. I guess they want him to be on their team because he's probably the most strategic one of all of them, right?
Hmm.
So they want him to. I was thinking because Batman uses holy water on her face. So
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting. I thought this was going to be a moment when he was about to die, but he was going to use Lex's blood somehow to take
Oh,
out
yeah,
Wonder
yeah,
Woman.
that's true. That's
So
true.
I thought
I
that was going to
completely forgot
happen.
about Lex's blood. Holy shit.
Yeah. So we see like what ends up happening here is everybody's trying to like Hal could have died, but Ollie missed his shot. And
Yeah.
he was like, why did you miss? You don't do that.
Yeah, he was like, I missed. He's like, you don't do that. He's like, well, these are our friends, okay?
Yeah.
I don't want to take the chance that there's maybe a cure or whatever. And Batman's like, there's no cure. He's like, oh, fuck, okay, okay. And
Yeah.
that's when we get the whole scene with Martian Manhunter. But when he throws the holy water on Wonder Woman,
Mhm.
Hot Girl is there. She's like, oh, fuck, you're a fucking vampire? And she's like,
Yeah.
yes, I am. And it looks like she's about to bite Hot Girl, but I don't think she does because that's when you get freaking Tim Drake and Damien.
No, there is a panel where it looks like her mouth's already on her neck.
Oh,
And
really?
Ollie's like, no. And then he's like, Bruce, what do we do? And then Bruce is like, the file's on all of us. Oh, that's when he says the Wonder Woman weakness. And there's this art's kind of cheesy with Batman running. He has like fucking green shit all on his face, and he's like, run, and he's like running at her with the fucking spear. And she just like it breaks on her chest. And she's like, you're not strong enough, Bruce, to like stab her, I guess.
Yeah.
And then that's when we see the Robins come in with their motorcycle and just knock the shit out of Diana. And then Ollie's like, sorry, Diana. And he uses an explosive arrow on her and just fucking blows her. Well, he blows her to smithereens, but we find out later she's not dead. And
Well,
everybody's like, we gotta get out of here. He's like, get him to the Bat car. And he's like, the Batmobile. And he's like, I'll drive. And he's like, can he do that? And he's like, no. And so we see Damien with a beat up Batman in the passenger seat. And he's like, we got to get out of here. And he's like, we could, of course, Damien's like, there's four of us. We could take her. And they're like, no, we can't. And they're in the car. They drive away. And Batman's like,
we're gonna
fucking
take some
execute
extra
order
precautions here. Yeah,
66, and fucking
basically. But
blows up.
when he did that, I'm like, Bruce, not everybody's fucking invulnerable like Superman here. Like,
Yeah.
chill the fuck out.
Yeah. And he
But
just
at the same
blows up.
time, I think that it may have indicated that Hawk Girl, because I looked at the panel,
Hmm.
if Diana didn't necessarily convert her, Hawk
Yeah.
Girl might be dead.
It's possible.
Yeah.
We'll see. I think she got converted, in my opinion.
Okay.
But we'll find out later, right? But I also don't think an explosion would kill a Thanagarian that easy.
True.
So, but anyways, we see that huge explosion. Everybody's kind of getting out of there. And then we see Superman coming out of the rubble, and he's like, he hit me with kryptonite. And then both of our vampire heroes are like, don't worry, we got you. And it's just them towering over a weakened Superman.
Yeah, so if he inhaled that kryptonite at all, he would be vulnerable for so long.
Yeah.
So that means that his skin would not be, it would be able to be penetrated by their bite.
Yeah.
In that case. Which I would also think if Wonder Woman was a vampire, she may actually be able to bite Superman,
Yeah.
regardless of if he had kryptonite in his system.
You know what I would love to see is I don't want to see Superman be converted. It's just too typical for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's also because he's almighty, he's all powerful, But we're dealing with kind of magic in this sense too. Like there's some magical people that have been converted. So you can still hold Superman at bay, in my opinion. I would love to see how or somebody. I mean, you can. I guess if you want to say Wonder Woman can't do it, even in her super strength or whatever she has, to try to bite Superman and their teeth break,
That would be fucking
and
awesome.
he's like, "You're vampires." And then maybe Hal gets away, but he kills Wonder Woman or something, or subdues her or whatever, and
Yeah.
then finds Bruce, and he's all like, "They're vampires, and they try to get me, but I know you're not."
And he's like, no shit, dude. That's what the fuck
Yeah,
we were dealing with.
and then
Yeah, I
like
think
if
that would be really cool.
yeah, but I just feel like they're gonna convert him, and it's gonna be typical. Like I
Yeah.
want to see Bruce and Superman do something together without having to fucking end up fighting each other, typically doing the same stuff. Like I want the world's finest to be the world's finest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Granted, I'm loving Arrow and fucking Batman together. Like that's awesome. But I would love to be Superman to be on this team and be like, all right, we all got to work together, like the rest of the Justice League, and just kind of do this. So yeah, either way, Rosenberg killing it. We know he's writing all the dialogue and everything. So, which is yeah, he's fucking killing it right now.
Yeah. With this story, it is A grade. It is awesome.
Yeah. But that is all the reviews for this week, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, Clay, what do you got going on, man?
So, of course, next week is The Batman. We will be doing a review here. I think that me and Juice have agreed that immediately after watching, we will at least record something. Don't know if we'll drop it immediately, um, or if we will drop it, of course, that Thursday or Friday
Yeah.
when it officially releases. For the DC Alliance, we will be doing a Batman review on Friday night live on YouTube, and we'll be dropping that on Saturday. So there's that. I just did a Star Wars Alliance talking about how the franchise might actually be better if it broke itself into separate timelines like Star Trek did. Really cool discussion there. And yeah, I will be jumping in and out of Juice's streams all the time, talking Batman stuff, comic book stuff, but especially right now with Juice and myself playing Horizon Forbidden West.
I have
Um,
not played it outside of the stream yet.
Really
Yeah. I'm still doing my daily stuff on Genshin Impact every day. And like I
nice,
have other people that have been wanting to play PUBG, so I play PUBG a lot now.
nice.
So I kind of just chill, but I have not. There's gonna be a day where I play it for like 8 hours. I know it's gonna happen. I just haven't done it.
I think Tuesday will be that day for me.
Yeah, I haven't done it. I do not have to work my editing job this weekend, so it might happen this weekend. But I have not got to dive into that game. So
Nice.
we'll see. But I have been posting content on my channels, ladies and gentlemen. Go check out the gaming channel and go check out the reaction channel if you want some content over there. But yeah, that's going to be it for us, ladies and gentlemen. As always, he is Fanboy Clay. I am Juice Wayne. And remember, Batman is awesome.